Okay, the microphones are on. And the tape is on.
This meeting is being held in conformance with the Sunshine Law. Notice of time, date, and place has been furnished to the Bergen Record and the Ridgewood News. Notice has also been posted on the bulletin board of the Administration Building. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mayor Giordano.
Here.
Mr. Brennick.
I'm here.
Ms. Sarah Drake.
Here.
Mr. Martinello.
Here.
Mr. Raimondo.
Here.
Mr. Ritchie.
Here.
Mrs. Weber.
Here.
Everyone kindly stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's have a moment of silence for all Waldeck veterans and all veterans across our country that have given the ultimate sacrifice, serving our country, some not making it home, so that we can live in a free country and assemble the way we are tonight. Would the clerk do the prayer?
Dear Lord, we start this meeting asking for your guidance and wisdom. May we find unity and fairness. The outcome should reflect our wishes to assist the borough in all their endeavors. Thank you in his name. Amen. Yeah. You can do it.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our meeting. I know we started a little early, but we have a lot to accomplish tonight. I got a couple of things that I'll be talking about. First of all, we need an alternate number 2 for the zoning board. So a gentleman by the name of Joe Myerjack put an application in, and what we did was I spoke with him, and he is willing to be on the board as an alternate 2. I need a motion and a second, then put it to a vote to accept him. Motion by Katie and second by Andy. Clerk, take the roll.
Mr. Brennick?
Yes.
Ms. Sarah Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Martinello?
Yes.
Mr. Raimondo?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mrs. Weber?
Yes.
Okay, a couple of other things. On Saturday that just passed, the mayor's meeting that we held was held in Ramsey, and we brought in John Danubio, who is in charge of the sewer authority, to talk to us about the rates and why things are the way they are. The meeting was a very good meeting. It was had about 7 or 8 mayors there out of the 15. We talked about each town, talked about why the rates are the way they are. When it came to Waldwick, our rates are high this year, and what happened is when he got the data from the borough of Waldwick, he realized that it was high. So what he did was for five times he checked the data to make sure the data was correct. What it was is that we have a lot of a high water content table here. Also, we have, there was a lot of rain, and a lot of people flushed their toilets, and that's one of the reasons why. But what they're doing is they're looking into other ways in which they're going to be reviewing this. We asked him a lot of questions. It lands up that, I don't know why we were told, but out of all the towns that they service, one town, the water rate went down, and that was Ramsey. Everybody else stood the same or went up. What he suggested is that years ago we used to do I&I. We stopped doing it. He thinks that that would be a good way to bring the money, our fees down, which he suggested. He also told us that their budget was $16,997,510. Service charges from all the towns was $14,799 and $14,799,510. That was the charges. The difference is about $2 million, and he says that $2 million comes from the outside areas that come in and deposit their waste, which is in New York. That saved the town's money. Also, he says that in regards to people coming in after hours, he said that that stopped. One of the people that do come in was caught coming in at an early time. That person was suspended from using the facility for a month, and if it happens again, he says that he will tell them they're no longer to use the authority. We did also question him about their capacity there, and he did say that right now the capacity is 50%. So any development that any town does, they could handle it with no problem. He also said the pipes, when they were put in years ago, were made so big that everything, it'll be all right. And what they're doing is they're monitoring everything that is being done right now. The formula for the ratio was made in 1983. It was then amended in 1985. Also, 60% of the water that goes in there is meter flowed. 20% is from the dwelling of our units, and 20% is the water usage. So all the towns did question him about all that stuff. He did tell us that they are doing some water calculations and surveys. They're going to do it in the months of October to March. And the reason why they do it that way is because that's the time of the month that nobody really uses water. There's no pools being filled, there's no sprinkler systems being taken care of. So that's what he talked to us about. Today, Steve and I met with him, and we also met with another gentleman from the board to talk about the issues of water and of the odor, smell, and everything like that. This has been an ongoing conversation we've been having with the authority. Unfortunately, we couldn't really say much about it until we were told to talk about this because they were doing certain things. Steve will talk a lot about that, but all I could say is that they are trying. They watch our meetings. They know what's being said. They're investing a lot of money into the operation of the authority. And we were there about an hour and a half. And it was a good meeting. Steve will talk to you more about it. And if he forgets something, I'll jump in. And if I forgot something, you jump in.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. So we kind of talked about what are the steps forward in a plan. So in the short term, they're actually planning to hire a person, one of their workers on overtime, who's going to start monitoring the whole area. So basically the area from Matthews Diner all the way to Dow and kind of around. This person's going to be there after hours, so I think around 4:30 in the evening on. They have what's called an H2S meter that they're going to be utilizing, which monitors different odors. I believe it's hydrogen sulfide, which is what stinks, basically. So they're going to be utilizing that, and this person's going to really just be going around and testing for odors all over and comparing and just tracking all the data. They're going to be filing reports every day with this gentleman that's going to get run through Mr. Danubio to keep on file. So that's going to happen probably within the next few weeks. In addition, he said he's sending all his supervisors for training so they can communicate with residents better. We notified him that was an issue that's come up, is how some of the information is being handled and relayed from the supervisors to our residents. So he's planning to address that. We also talked about how residents can submit better. So they have their own form, which he's going to be updating. It's a pretty simple form, not much information on it. So they're going to update that, try and gather more information. We said we'd be more than happy to work with them on that too. We're going to have all this info on our own website, so it's easy to access for our residents, and we could point our residents to directly. So we're working with them on that. Maybe an online submission form that lives on their website that we share, or lives on our website that we share out, so we're still working through some of those details. But pretty much it's a lot of data collection and reporting for the next few months, and then the second phase would be to use that information and work towards maybe a more detailed study and some feasibility studies, things like that.
And they also are getting new recalibration system meters, because the ones that they had to send them out. So what they're doing is they're borrowing new ones until they get their own, and they're going to be going around doing everything. So if you see a car with a man in there, he's going to be walking around the neighborhood. The police will also know that the gentleman is around the area. He also did say that when they train these people that are in his area there, they're going to train them to identify different types of smell. So they'll know what the type of smell is, because right now when a report comes in, it says a smell, a foul smell. It's going to be in details what type of smell it was, so they know what they have to do. They also said that we asked them about 9/11, that everybody smelt it. And he says that, unfortunately, the gentleman that was working there didn't realize we had a ceremony, and he opened up a door to clean it when he should have waited. He says that was the problem. he apologized and everything, and he did, he did say that moving forward, that he will be giving weekly reports to Steve and everything. I did ask him about the person that sits on the board there, who was from Waldeck, retired or left, and there's an opening. So what I did ask if we could put somebody on. He did say that you could try, but even when he puts somebody on and it's given to the county executive says, "Thank you very much," and picks who he wants. But yesterday I did, after we met on Saturday, Monday, I sent an email, I told him I was doing this, and I sent an email to the county executive telling him that, we're the host town, and maybe we could have a say at that table that we know. Not that we didn't trust the person before, but we have now somebody that we would like. I told him that I gave him 3 names, and the 3 names, if he was interested, I will arrange a meeting with them, and then also we will discuss a resume with them. So the 3 names I gave to him was Eric, I gave Mr. Mitchell, and then I gave Joe Orvitz, because Joe Orvitz used to work there, and he knows a little bit of the ins and outs. I don't think Joe Orvitz will even be looked at, but maybe we have a chance with Eric and Mr. Mitchell. The meeting, as I said, or also Steve said, went off pretty good. And, we're just going to now wait for him to see what he's going to do. He did say it's going to be a month that they'll be around the area checking out the smells and everything. So, and if anybody still has any complaints or anything, he wants everyone to still call. And as Steve said, he's going to change the way the format is about the complaints coming in. Other thing that we discussed was we had a meeting about water. You want to take that?
Yeah, and please fill in, everybody, if we miss anything. But, yeah, so we had our first official Water Quality Committee meeting last week, which went really well. It was members of the council, the mayor, staff, and our engineering firm has a team of 4 put together on this. So really, we kind of just introduced ourselves, caught up, went over all the various issues that have happened pretty much since June of last year up until current times with the discoloration, the loss of pressure, just every single possible water issue we've been experiencing. And then we just talked about, what's the path forward. A communication strategy is one piece. We're planning to have an open public meeting just focused on water quality issues. We're aiming for sometime in April. We don't have a firm date on that yet, but we have our next follow-up meeting next Thursday, actually, in the afternoon. So we're going to hopefully zero in on that a little bit more. Speaking with H2M, they have a proposal for us for a hydraulic model, which will help really capture a lot of useful data to help put things together. I recently provided them all of our GIS data and mapping that we had created this past year. We started that project actually at the end of 2023, so we just finished that up pretty recently. We're finalizing that. We should have our GIS up and running, hopefully, within the next month. I'd say, by March we should have that online. We'll share that with the H2M as well, and Boswell will maintain that with us. We've actually created, I just bought new licensing for our own GIS system, so we'll actually house that. So we'll have and own all the data ourselves, so we won't have to share an account with any of the engineers, so we could grant access to whoever we need to for that. So all the pieces are starting to come together. We're not fully there yet, but we definitely have a good plan in place, and we're starting to move forward. So we're going to continue to tackle the issue and hit it from all angles.
And the resident that was chosen, Mr. Goodell, he's aware of everything, and he'll be at the meeting with us. Right?
Yes, correct. Yep, he just confirmed that today.
Okay. Okay, just a couple of more things. If you go on our website, you'll see an application for a Lewis Bay League of Municipality scholarship. It's given to any Waldeck student who would like to fill out an application. It's online, and it's a $1,000 scholarship, and it's given by the League of Municipalities. It's about what my municipal government does best. We've had a couple of winners. Every year we send it to the high school. Kelly posted on our website. We sent it to the Seventh-day Adventist School this year, and anybody that would like to fill out the scholarship application, you got to send me a letter telling me why you why the government is working for you or what it does the best. By March 7th, everything is posted on our site, so you could pick everything up from there. So if you know anybody that's graduating, or even a junior, let them come and fill out the application. Also, one more thing, I guess we need to put it to a vote. We got an email from the Baseball Association Board President asking us if they lease our fields at at Borough Park. Since the turf field is going to be under construction, the baseball team has no place to practice. So they were asking if they could sublet it to the Baseball Association, so that, the high school, so that they could have a field to practice. It's a one-shot deal. It's something that probably will never have to happen again, hopefully, so that they could practice without going into another town to do it. I spoke to the attorney about this, and, I think it's not a problem. It's for the youth of our community. They need a place to go. They're not going to be there all year round, just going to be there for the part of the season. And the Baseball Association will be responsible for everything. All we have to do is just write up a little something, an agreement here and there. I was thinking about it a little bit before, and, what happens if somebody else wants to come forward and say they want to use that field from us? A little different, because here, this is a one-shot deal. They're not going to be doing this every year, and it's just to help them out. So, do I have a motion and a second to have the attorney write up some verbiage so that we're all protected in this? Mark? Michelle? Clerk, take the roll.
Mr. Brennick?
Yes.
Ms. Sarah Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Martinello?
Yes.
Mr. Raimondo?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mrs. Weber?
Yes.
Okay. Also, story time with the mayor has been canceled from Friday at 3:30 to February 28th at 3:30. It'll be posted all over the place, and that's really all I have to say right now. Financial Administrative Committee, Councilman Ritchie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, everybody. So last week, if you joined us, we started our 2025 municipal budget with the capital budget. This evening, we will be starting to look at the operating budget. We don't have all of the details in place yet. We don't have all of the expenditures, especially those expenditures that were required to pay lined up, but I think we'll be able to cover the majority of the budget and have a good discussion. It will be line by line, so bear with us. Last week, there was, I made a comment about the water department and kind of the budget within the water department. There were a few questions over email, and I wasn't exactly sure how to address your questions, Council President, so I wanted to give you the opportunity to ask them, and then I can go back to the drawing board and pull the information.
Sure. Can we do business or no?
Now is fine, yeah.
Basically, looking at the projections that you've given us from last year, a lot of those items I know are shared. Salaries are shared at 50% in some points and some at 20%. Those I know will be pushed back into the budget if things change. But most of the operating expenses, taxes, $20,000, that will go away because we own the property up in Wyckoff. Some of these items will change. Some of the operating costs, that's the items that I highlighted and put in a spreadsheet. If you have any questions about the spreadsheet that I sent, please feel free to ask.
I just wasn't sure what it was actually laying out.
Basically, the expenses that are not going to move forward if things change, and the items that would move into the...
Those are the expenses
budget.
that would go, there are allocations that would go back into the budget, that's what the
There's
Excel file is.
allocations that would go back into the budget, there's allocations that would go away. That's what the spreadsheet...
And those are both in the spreadsheet, okay. I'll have
Both in the spreadsheet.
And what was the highlights?
The highlights are so that you can see where the lines came into the spreadsheet and where it came from your budget.
Okay, and those are confirmed those are confirmed allocations to go back into the...
If things are changing, we're not going to pay an electric bill. And we'll also
Not you.
the only items that were
keep the
not
electric
added
bill.
were items with regards to
Keep the electric.
revenue that would come in with regards to taxes.
Okay, so you want us to go back and look at all of the allocations in the water budget and
Yeah.
report back to you, this is what's important right now
Yeah.
for you? Okay.
When you get a chance.
This is the most important thing for you right now?
It's not the most important thing.
No,
It's-
but But obviously, this is for the budget, this is what's very important. You don't want to wait for we're going to pay a company to do a
I
deep
understand.
financial analysis for us.
That's fine.
Okay, so you
Bring
want us
it
to go
light,
back?
Mike.
All right, so we'll go back, we'll go back, we'll look at the allocations on the water budget. We'll look at what carries forward if we were to potentially sell, and then what would remain. Okay, all right, so you think we can do that before the next council meeting?
We can pull that together.
Okay, all right, so we'll try to report on that for you at the next council meeting. Now I understand the question. All right, so this evening we'll focus on the operating budget, and we'll take it from there. We have printouts for you all, so, it won't be digital this year. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Fire and Police Protection Committee, Councilman Brennick.
No report tonight.
Thank you so much. Public Safety Committee, Councilman Sarah Drake.
Thank you, Mayor. I lost my voice. I'm getting a little sick, but bear with me. So far this month, we've had 32 total calls, 6 calls to the Bristol, 5 general calls taken outside of duty crew hours, 1 mutual aid call to Allendale. 2 members received CPR instructor certifications and will be offering free hands-only CPR training to local organizations and businesses that are interested. If anyone's interested, please reach out to Lucas or Adrian directly or contact them at info@waldwickems.com. The Waldwick Access for All Committee also had a postcard that hit mailboxes last week. I'd like to commend them on a great effort creating this piece to spread awareness and encourage growth within their group. Thank you.
Thank you. Recreation and Health Committee, Mr. Councilman Martinello.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few updates tonight. In health, just a reminder that we have the Child Health Clinic every third Wednesday at White's Lane. Every month, we see a few kids there and give out some immunizations. It's a great facility. Also, on their website, under www.nwbrhc.org, there's a bunch of events under the calendar. There's a cardiac comeback, a weight loss surgery, pregnancy classes, snoring cessation. There's a lot of resources there for members of the community to utilize for free, so please visit their website. In recreation, the Waldwick Baseball Association registration is open. It's waldwickbaseball.sportngin.com for pre-K through 8th grade. We're already over 250 kids signed up, and sponsorship opportunities are open for teams and banners this year. And they're having a golf outing on April 10th. So information is on the website if you would like to play or sponsor a hole. There's opportunities there. It's a great community event. Also, the Highlands Lacrosse program invites the Waldwick boys and girls to register in a lacrosse program. Registration actually just closed yesterday, but I'm sure they wouldn't turn kids away if you're still interested. You can go onto their website at highlandslacrosse.com for more information there. Also, some other community events coming up. On February 27th, we have the Ramadan Crescent lighting at the library at 6 p.m. And given that Valentine's Day is on Friday, the heart is a great thing to remember. So the blood pressure screening on March 5th at 11:45 a.m. to 12:30, also at the Waldwick Clinic on 22 White's Lane. And then coming up in March, on March 8th, Saturday morning, there's a BCUA household hazardous waste. If you want to get rid of items that are in your garage or in your shed that you can't get rid of anyplace else, it's a good opportunity to do that. They take paint, they take gas, they take things that you wouldn't really get rid of in normal garbage. That's at the Empire Boulevard in Moonachie at their facility. And then lastly, April 1st, pool registration opens, so get your registrations ready to go there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And also, the month of February is Heart Screening Month. And we don't say it much enough, but Sean Fisher, the young boy that died on the football field, playing soccer, I think it was. Wasn't it football? No, football. Playing football. His mother was home baking cakes for him to come home with his friends for his birthday, and he passed out because he had a problem with his heart. They never detected it. Ever since his death, his parents since moved away, but they still come into Waldwick and to the schools, and they do heart screening, and it's a good thing. I think they saved a lot of lives. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send him a letter from the mayor and council thanking him for continuing to support Waldwick and our young athletes and young residents in our community.
I'd like to piggyback on that, Mr. Mayor, with the Sean Fisher Foundation. two of my children participated in the heart screenings. And my son did it when he was going in as a freshman, and he didn't have an issue with the screening. Everything showed clear, but he ended up having an issue a few years later, and we were able to go back and look at that screening to see what had changed in I think it was 4 years between the two. So it was that, and it was also that he was a junior on the Walden Fire Department, and they did the physical from the town before he could join. Is a very thorough physical, and they also did a heart screening on him then. So they had a lot of data, which most children don't have. When they end up having a heart issue, nobody knows a baseline. So take advantage. I believe a lot of the parents do, but it's a really good.
Yep, absolutely. Public Works Committee, Councilman Raimondo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Only have two items. I want to thank the DPW for the past two storms. As usual, we get up in the morning and we're fortunate enough to have blacktop. I travel through multiple towns going to work in the morning, and I will say that our roadways are probably one of the best, even better than Route 17 that morning, especially when we had the ice storm. So I want to thank, I also spoke with Mike Latour. There was a question on the budget last week, or 2 weeks ago, regarding the F-350. That is utilized to plow, so it's not just a plain supervisor's vehicle. It is required so that it is a vehicle that's used in equipment to do the plowing. So he wanted to reiterate that. I had asked him to verify that, and he did confirm that. And last but not least is the last storm we had this Sunday. Again, another fine example of getting the roads clear on a day that most people don't need to be on the road because it is a weekend. But again, I want to thank him and the team for doing such a great job and appreciate all the hard work. That's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Buildings and Grounds Committee, Councilwoman Weber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nothing really went on this month, thank goodness, with any of our buildings and grounds. We had the last item I think that was up was the ambulance corps elevator, which was repaired. I just had some questions on that, but that Steve's going to look into about how old it was and if it's worth updating altogether. Also, I was hoping that maybe we can look in this year, maybe doing like a preventative maintenance program on a lot of our heating units and AC units and just overall items between all the buildings. We spent a lot of money last year on some surprise issues. Maybe we can not have them being a surprise. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Consent resolution, I'm sorry, our administrator, anything?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to hold my comments for the budget discussion.
Talk about the safety committee, with the traffic thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we have been reviewing some safety requests, traffic safety requests from the community. So I've met with PD on that. We're actually going to do some studies, get updated counts for kids crossing. There was a request from HCA for a crossing guard at the intersection of East Prospect and Sheridan. So they're going to start working on that. Also been working with PD on additional speed limit signs on Crescent Ave by the school. There's actually none there, I guess, coming in from Allendale. So Sergeant Garcia requested to the county that they install some. They accepted and approved it and passed it on to their road division. So hopefully we'll be seeing those going in soon. And we're really just waiting for the weather to clear to install some of the other equipment we have, like the blinking crosswalks on Crescent and East Prospect down here also. We do have a meeting scheduled with the Board of Ed to discuss some other safety concerns soon, but more to come on that.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Steve, when HCA provided the petition, did they secure monies from the town to do that petition, or did they do it on their own?
Families.
Yeah, nothing was done through the borough. We just received
We received the
their
petition from
report.
them.
Yeah,
We were at a Board of Ed meeting when the woman didn't know what to do with this petition, and I said, give it to us, we'll forward it to our administrator, and he in return will submit it to the police department for review, and that's what we did.
Thank you.
Thank you. Borough Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to remind everybody that we have a digital version of the 2025 calendar on our website. I really urge everyone to take time to review the information contained in the calendar. The dates and the deadlines for scheduling heavy metal, electronics bulk pickup are included on each month, as well as the recycling collection for each week, special events, and borough holidays. Just a reminder, borough offices, the recycling center, and the library are closed Monday, February 17th in observance of President's Day. There will be normal Monday garbage collection on Monday, February 17th. With regards to elections, I sent my petition memo to the party leaders earlier this month. The legislature did pass and the governor did sign the bill increasing the number of signatures required on a petition. For Waldeck, that means 50 valid signatures are now required on petitions. April 16th is the deadline for change of party affiliation declaration forms, and that form is available on our website. Melissa continues to do an excellent job on keeping up with licenses, dog licenses, and cleaning up the rolls. We've issued 750 licenses to date. Alarm registrations were sent out and are now coming in, and thus far we have collected $1,320 in those fees. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, a new one. Confidential assistant, Tatiana.
Good evening, Mayor. I have nothing to report today.
Oh, you could have said something. A borough attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No report this evening.
Thank you very much. Hopefully no close.
No closed.
Thank you. Consent resolutions and resolutions of the governing body.
Be it resolved that the following resolutions herewith listed by consent, having been considered by the governing body of the Borough of Waldeck, are hereby passed and approved. 2025-76, approval of consent. 2025-77, approval of minutes, regular meeting and closed session meeting of January 14th and closed session meeting January 28th. Policy votes. Sheba Baumgart requests to use Pavilion A on May 4th from 1 p.m. to dusk for a confirmation celebration with alcoholic beverages being served. B, Waldeck Football Club requests to use Veterans Park Field from March 1st through July 31st for U8 through 11 practices and games as shown in the February 3rd, 2025 email, with the stipulation that the DPW will paint lines in the field initially, and after that the Warriors Football Club will be solely responsible for painting lines plus removal of all garbage left on the field areas each day. C, Superstar Tennis requests to rent 2 tennis courts at Veterans Park from May 26th to August 28th on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 7 p.m. at a cost of $1,500 per court. D, Waldeck High School requests permission to use the Waldeck Municipal Pool on Thursday, June 12th, with a rain date of June 13th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the senior class barbecue with lifeguard staff requested. E, Waldeck Chamber of Commerce requests to hang the Waldeck 5K banner on the fence located at the end of East Prospect beginning April 1st, as well as mounting the 3x5 American flag over Hopper Avenue Bridge across from the Borough Pool beginning May 1st, to be removed after May 4th. F, Waldeck Chamber of Commerce requests assistance of the police, DPW, CERT, and fire department with the Chamber of Commerce 5K run and 1 mile walk on Sunday, May 4th. 2025-78, authorize execution of agreement with Phoenix Advisors for a water utility evaluation in an amount not to exceed $15,000. 2025-79, approval of the support for A4649 to provide periodic cancer screening for volunteer firefighters through the State Health Benefit Plan. 2025-80, accept resignation of per diem crossing guard Tehar Riskala, and 2025-81, payment of vouchers.
Do I have a motion and a second? Motion by Andy, second by Joe. On the question. Number C, is that the same group of people we worked with last year? Tennis court?
Yes.
Good. Okay, also, Andy, could you do me a favor? Could you just remind the fire department that they know about it, but it would be nice to just remind them so that, they know, the flag for the 5K. They probably already know, but it'd be nice to let them, show them the respect that, they need it. Anyone else?
Should we discuss 2025-78, just give an overview of what that is, the hiring of the financial advisors?
Sure.
I'm happy to take it if you want to take it, whatever.
If you want to jump in, I'll supplement.
So we can be open with everything here now, right? I mean, this is a group of financial advisors that we're hiring to essentially help us look at whether selling the water system in Waldwick, what's the valuation of the water system, what are the potential financial impacts of the borough. We hope to get very deep into this to get formal analysis on what our budget looks like, what a 5-year, 10-year plan could look like, what rates could look like. Keep in mind, we haven't raised water rates in probably 12, 13 years in Waldwick, so, which is also a problem, agreed, yeah. So, so I think that this is a group that's going to step in, they're experts, they're going to help us. We'll have a full 360 view, probably better than certainly I can do from a financial perspective, and it'll help us, I think, make the appropriate recommendation. And this is an item that will go to the town. This is not decided by council. We make a recommendation, and it essentially goes on the ballot in November, and if we make that recommendation, the town votes on whether this proceeds or not. So anyway, this sets that process forward, and I think it'll be informative.
Yeah, and I'll just note too, on the rates, we are finalizing our rate study with our auditor. We hope to have that finalized too in the coming months. That'll be an important piece of the whole conversation.
Anyone else?
Can I ask a question on 2579, approval to support periodic cancer screenings? Question I have is, does this also include other professionals that are within the police department as well as the ambulance squad?
No.
And is there a reason why? Do we know?
Well,
Katie?
Yeah, because there's already a bill that does this for firemen and firewomen that are paid.
Oh, no, I
we're
know
trying to match
from
that.
the paid fire department, because one of the concerns that I have is, on all of our calls that we have, as being a member of the fire department, the ambulance squad and the police department are always on call, and they don't have the same protective equipment
Yeah.
that the fire department has. It would be great if we could include those members in that as well, because I think secondhand smoke is an issue with people that don't smoke. And I think at a fire scene, if these people are here for the entirety, they're at just as great a risk as anybody else, and it would be great that if that could be included in that.
we can't. This bill has been this bill has been established since June of 2024. It's been written this way. And what they're doing is they're just bringing it back again to review it. I asked, I forgot, somebody in the fire, up at the academy about that. They said it's just geared toward fire departments, and right now it's for the paid departments, and now we're asking to have them look into it for the volunteers.
Okay, then my next question, this is for Craig. Since there are several members on this council that will benefit from this, or do we need to recuse ourselves because we have gained from this resolution?
I mean, you're just supporting the passage of the bill, the recommendation to pass the bill. I don't think the support will give you any type of monetary benefit or anything in that nature, so I think you can clearly
Okay,
support.
I just wanted to be
support
clear on the
resolution,
record.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, no, I think Mark's recommendation is actually fantastic, but as the mayor said, this is the bill that is as written by Assemblyman Auth, so that's why we're just going to voice our support for that.
I just hope it pushes through.
Same here.
I'll benefit.
Nothing would prevent you guys, if you want to amend the resolution, to put that recommendation in when you send that resolution to your elected officials, and say, look, we understand what you wrote, but we'd like to also encourage you to amend your bill to include
Oh, we could do that?
ambulance corps members
I
and
think
stuff
that'd
like
be
that.
That's a
Yeah.
good idea, Craig. Maybe they never thought about it with the other groups,
They-
or
yeah,
the other
they-
first responders.
They might not have, because as Councilwoman said, there is a paid firefighters statute already.
Right.
So nobody might have thought about, your ambulance corps or anybody else, so.
Yeah, you got the ambulance corps, you got the certs. They're all around the fire department. So say the thing with the foam, that was a big thing. The fireman has foam on them, they go to the
Decon.
the ambulance to be treated. Now you got all that stuff. Yeah, could we do something about that?
You just want to make a motion to include those as a recommendation and amend the resolution,
Okay.
and then whoever made the motion for the consent, just to amend, as amended.
All right, who made the motion? Okay, amended.
Andy and...
Andy, amend it, please. Say that you include the ambulance corps and
I'd
certs.
like to amend that to include the ambulance corps and
Sir,
any other first responder.
Very good, thank you.
Is that good?
Anybody else? Okay, clerk, take the roll.
Mr. Brannick,
Yes.
Ms. Sarah Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Martinello?
Yes?
Mr. Raimondo?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mrs. Weber?
Yes.
Okay. We have a public hearing, ordinance number 2025-01. Would the clerk kindly read it?
Ordinance number 2025-01, an ordinance repealing and replacing the borough's stormwater management ordinance to comply with updated New Jersey DEP requirements.
Anybody from the council would like to comment on this? Good.
This is just an ordinance, there's new state statutes and everything regarding stormwater management, so it was easier to repeal and replace your entire section in order to update it, so that's all this is doing, to
Okay.
comply with the DEP.
Anyone else? Nope, I close the council's comments and open it up to the public. Anybody from the public would like to comment on this ordinance? Being none, I close the public's comments and ask for a motion and a second to pass this on second reading and that the clerk be authorized to advertise it in local legal newspapers as required by law. Motion and a second by Mark and Joe. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Brennick?
Yes.
Ms. Sarah Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Martinello?
Yes.
Mr. Raimondo?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mrs. Weber?
Yes.
Okay. Unfinished business, we will be discussing the 2025 municipal budget discussion.
Let us grab the sheets.
You'll send a letter to Joyce about the
Yeah.
Sorry?
Thank you so much.
And just to know, we have Colleen here also to jump in. But, do you want me to kind of kick things off? So, as Councilman Ritchie said, we're really just doing a kind of high-level, first run through the operating. I think as most of you are aware, there's not really too much surprising in this one. Over the years, we've kind of scaled things back, so everything that's being proposed is, we feel, pretty much necessary. There's really not too many things different from last year or any additional, surprising requests. So if you want, we could kind of just start and we'll go department by department. I could highlight certain things and note, areas where we're missing that we have to fill in the blanks for the next one. But if that works for everybody, we could just jump right in.
Good.
All right. So just the first page is general administration. Really, we're pretty much right on. We increased the miscellaneous professional services from last year. This actually was higher than we cut it back last year a little bit, looking to increase that again. We did end up spending a little bit more. We took things out of there like our telecommunications expert attorney, and I think some of the land conservancy money for the open space plan, things like that came out of that one. So we just want to keep that healthy. There's a lot going on this year, so just in case. And pretty much just going down is, all our conference meetings, organization dues, and allowances. In here is also the public information line, which is the calendar, our website hosting. So that line actually dropped a little bit from last year because if you remember, we did the website rebuild. So we're able to drop that back down. We're just looking at our hosting fees now. There's a new item in there, the Constant Contact, which is our new weekly and monthly newsletter that Kelly has been doing a fantastic job on. So nothing too surprising. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a quick question. Since we're using the Constant Contact, I know that Nixle is still being used by like the PD. Did
Yeah.
our like pricing go down because we're not using it anymore or no?
No, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not really based, it is based on usage, but it's not, we don't use it enough to make a dent in it.
Okay.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing that up. You know, Nixle will still be used for emergency communications. We've kind of shifted things that way, and the Constant Contact will be used for, you know, your everyday events.
Just a quick question, it's just a few dollars, but the last line there, you talked about where we had budgeted for 12,400, we utilized 7,000, we're asking for 11 this year. You just said we probably decreased because we just have the hosting fees, we already did the website redesign. Is that a possibility there, where there's a little bit of benefit at the end?
Potentially, it all comes down, that's the calendar cost too, is in there, so that gets offset by advertising. So I think we're right around,
Yeah, except for the postage.
Yeah, and the
So keep that in
postage,
mind,
right.
Postage goes up a little bit every year, so we're just trying to make sure there's a little bit of a buffer in there to get
somebody
that
deliver
all
it.
residents.
yeah, we can't necessarily, you know, bank on the advertising dollars. We feel pretty confident where we're at, which I think is like $90, $200, somewhere in that range.
We haven't had an issue filling the sponsors, and we already have a wait list for other sponsors, new ones that want to come on board. So no hesitation that we won't cover it.
Yeah, so I wouldn't, we might have a little buffer there, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend any cuts there.
Thank you.
The big ticket item is on page 2, which is all of you, the mayor and council budget. Pretty standard there. I don't think there's,
I would like to give back the $500 for the Northwest Bergen. I want to contribute to saving our town money.
okay,
As the president of the association, I didn't raise dues this year, so take $500 off.
okay. Noted, thank you. All right, moving on to the municipal clerk's budget. Again, pretty straightforward. I think we bumped up elections slightly.
Slightly, just based on if we have returns from the ballots, the mail-in ballots, we get charged for that. If we go to legal notices, we kind of kept that the same, although I am doing with Melissa's help most of the affidavits. Only if we absolutely need one from the paper are we getting it, because it's an additional $25 each time. So that line, you know, we might be able to save something there, but we just don't know that yet.
Could I ask a question about that?
Sure.
On here, if we have if we do something with our water and we have to have a referendum, is that included in the price here? Or that's a different charge?
Absolutely not.
That's more,
No, that's not included at all.
not included. How much is that going to go, roughly?
I wouldn't even want to give you a guess.
Okay.
That would come out of water budget, right?
I'm glad that I gave you $500.
I'm not really sure what it would
We
be.
could try and pull more details together on that. I honestly
yeah,
don't
I'll-
know right now.
I did that so long ago.
The last time we did it was White's Pond, and that was when Andy was on the council last time. So what was that, like 1900?
But we
I had
can,
brown hair.
we can pull that together then.
Yeah. Thank you, that's a good point. So we'll pull some details together. Jumping down to the end, you'll actually notice a significant decrease in the total for this department. Last year, yep, thank you to Kelly for that.
Oh, gosh, here we go.
But we had in there the sound system upgrades for this room, which actually has been working out great. So that was about 21,000, 22,000 that we don't have to budget for this year, so there's a good decrease there.
Okay.
Now, you will notice later on in the finance department budget, we actually added in about another 20,000 for a payroll platform. Colleen and I have been meeting with several different companies. We're looking to get a payroll system in place. Right now, we're really just utilizing spreadsheets, so we want to have kind of a centralized digital platform that does all sorts of additional things like her tax reports, pension reports, things like that. So we do see that as a benefit, so there's a decrease here, but there's an increase there, but it's really a trade-off, just to note that.
Save you a tremendous amount of time, right, too?
Yes,
Doing it with the platform?
and just a lot of valuable,
Sometimes.
reports, yeah.
There's going to be more detailed information, a lot of the time and attendance
Okay.
And the ability for employees really to be able to find their information without always having to go bug necessarily Colleen in her
yeah,
office.
okay.
So being able to access your timesheets, your tax records,
Yeah.
it's helpful for them to
That's a
self-help.
big time savings for everybody. It's good.
Yeah, they do all their paid time off requests, everything through that system. It just makes the approval process much easier
Oh, that's
on
even
our
better.
end.
Which ones are you looking at?
Yeah,
I don't want to name vendors necessarily right now.
that's nice. That's a cool thing.
But we've met with at least 4. I think there's one more we really want to meet with and zero in on that is pretty popular in the municipal world.
If I can offer any help, that's what I do for a living, is negotiate with computer vendors.
Okay.
Software vendors, and if I can help at all in your selection process, happy to help.
Absolutely. I'll team you up with Colleen because she's pretty brutal and rough on the vendors. Beats them up a little bit, so
That's all right.
absolutely.
That keeps them honest.
Joe, just don't take him into Borough Park.
Leave them in White's Pond.
Yes. Stay away from the baseball field.
Okay, skipping to page 4, financial administration. Really no changes there, nothing to highlight. Going down, for audit services, I don't think we have that exact price, so that's one we're going to have to go back and plug in for you. Just continuing on, revenue administration, tax collector, note the new payroll system is in there for about $22,000. Everything else, we do have to update this one a little bit. Unfortunately, Colleen was away, so she's catching up pretty quickly this week. So we're giving her a little bit of time, and then we'll get all this filled in back for you.
Steve, this question on the, I told you I'm a computer guy, right?
Yep.
So antivirus for servers and workstations, we host servers on site here at the building?
So we have, yes, we have some shared servers. I believe they're actually at PD for ours and PD. Now, we're looking to make some changes with that potentially in the future, and we are going to have to replace, I believe, two of the servers soon, or end of life.
Any thoughts about going to an Azure or a cloud hosted so you can take away the maintenance cost of the servers and they do automatic backups, all that kind of stuff?
It's been talked about. That's a little bit beyond me too, but our IT company, who is new, the past year, has been absolutely fantastic. They've been making the upgrades. We upgraded all of our firewalls across the entire town last year, so I'll definitely bring that up with them.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk with those guys about
Yeah.
that too when you get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just so you know, we already did with the financial,
Yeah, I see the cloud hosting for Edmonds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so we are shifting some things to the cloud. Again, we could kind of skip to tax assessment. Speaking with Angela, we really just bumped up the professional services line slightly, $1,500, based on her recommendations. All the rest is pretty straightforward, her association dues and office supplies. We'll skip to page 7, is legal services. We did utilize about 10,000 more than we did last year.
Hey, come on, can't you do something?
But in fairness,
Can't you do
there's
something for us?
a lot going on.
We have a lot going on.
Come on.
We did bump that up again for a request for 25. We have a lot of redevelopment.
We do give you
things
entertainment.
like that, things with the water system, so there's a lot going on, so
We do give you entertainment here, you gotta do something for us.
appreciate all the services the borough attorney provides.
Yes.
And our tax appeals, of course.
Yeah.
Engineering services did not change. We're pretty right on with that number.
Yeah, sorry, Steve, the outside litigation, is that a retainer or is that just pay as you use for those things?
Yeah, it's just pay as we go, for labor council when we reach out, so. Planning board, you won't see any change there. Last year, we did raise this. We did plug in 15,000 for redevelopment studies and plans. Actually, I think last year it was just redevelopment study. This year, I just added plan. kind of keeping that around that 15 mark, anticipating we're going to need to utilize that line again. So I think keeping that nice and high where we were last year seemed to be about right, and I think it'll probably be about right again this year. Skipping ahead to Board of Adjustment, same thing, no changes there, 6,100. All depends on kind of what comes before the board. Construction code, that was one, I apologize, did jump to the next page, so you'll see the total. That is actually dropping too, compared to last year, which is nice. That was high, so we implemented the Edmunds permitting platform and the hosting, so now we're just on the hook for the hosting, which dropped down. I think the total was around 14,000 somewhere last year. So that's nice. Just an update on that too. We've been having regular meetings. The code office has been handling most of those. All the data has now been migrated to Edmunds, into the platform. So now we're actually looking to roll out officially, I believe, sometime in mid-April. They should be fully online. Throughout March, there's going to be a lot of training sessions with the staff there to get used to that platform. Page 10, we jump into insurance. I think this is one that we still need to do some updates on. We don't have all these pieces together yet, so I don't want to go too much into detail on that one.
It's unlikely to go down like this, though, right?
No.
35 to 40,000.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a decrease.
Yeah. Just managing expectations.
Yeah. Skipping ahead to the health benefits, that number is accurate. We just updated that today, that 867, 734. Some of the numbers in that, the group, the current cost of water, the library, current fund employee contributions, all those have been updated, so that is up to date, that section. We still need to just double check the dental. Other than that, it shouldn't change too much.
On the group insurance, the 24 numbers aren't on here, as they were on a different line? Or?
Yeah, we just have to plug those in and confirm. Page 12, the health benefit waiver. So due to the rising costs, we actually saw a few more. I think we had 5 last year, employees receiving the benefit waiver. This year, it's jumped up to 8. So you'll see a jump in that in the operating line, but that's a good thing for us because it saves us on the other side. Okay, jumping to 13, police. So there's nothing too surprising here. I will go down. This number is going to go up a little bit. It's actually going to be closer to 90,000. Let me pull up my sheet. But we're changing some of the lines around, basically, that make more sense. They had some things that were getting charged to areas that really just didn't make too much sense. So we want to create a new line specifically for training. I think they had the firearms and rifle training actually split, and the firearms training was coming out of equipment maintenance, and I think the rifle training was coming out of new equipment. So we're just trying to clean that up a little bit, make it a little more logical where things go. So those will be in there, but you can see the numbers associated are accurate. So firearms and rifle training is about 9,000, rifle training facilities about 7,000. And then we also want to create a new traffic safety line within PD. That's been a big push of theirs and a goal, and I think it makes sense. Again, they had kind of, road flares, cones, calibration of the feedback signs and everything, in new equipment and things like that. It just doesn't make sense. It's a regular occurrence, so we want to create its own line for it.
So you're getting another 20K, basically, the bottom's going to be,
Yeah, I would say that's fair. Give me 1 second, I can tell you better.
So we use a
Yeah.
separate facility for the rifle training?
Yeah, so our pistol range is not long enough to
For rifles.
qualify on the rifles.
Okay.
Yeah, so I believe they go to, actually I forget. I wanted to say Paramus, but that's not it.
Ramsey?
Maybe Ramsey.
Ramsey or Ramsey?
Yeah, and I could double check on that, but yeah, basically, our range is not
It's not
suitable.
long, so yeah.
Yeah, when they redid the range, they were thinking about making it longer, but there was no way to do that, because then you would have the parking, you would take away parking, and then you have to configure out the
Yeah, it's right up to
the
the
inside.
property line in
Right,
the back there.
right.
Yeah, it's pretty tight there. So yeah, I have the total actually at 86,850 with those changes.
Steve, on the police budget, so we were going to ask the police department to come give an overview. What are their thoughts on coming to the whole council for that?
Yeah, so I did want to bring that up as we're talking about this. They are ready to do a presentation. I think they'd feel more comfortable, just because some of the information they want to present is sensitive in nature, quite honestly, and shouldn't fully be publicized, which is fair. There's security reasons for that. So we were thinking maybe just starting with the Police and Fire Protection Committee, let them present there, and then maybe kind of change things up at the presentation and then do a full council presentation. But I wanted to get everyone's feedback on that instead of just coming right out with the whole council. I know PD has definitely expressed some hesitation and concerns over just some of that information, not trying
Yeah,
to
bring them in.
hide anything, but there is some security issues.
Yeah,
It's a better alternative than the finance committee, the public safety. I'd be just an advocate for it.
Just have them come and talk to all of us, without the public.
We could do that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Just
If they
looking
feel
for feedback,
comfortable.
However people want to do it, if you want to
That's-
we could set up just smaller groups and they could come and kind of make their pitch.
They're concerned
Just do the whole
about
council.
something sensitive, that would be fair.
Okay.
Yeah, make the whole council be a little earlier, so, or let them come at 6:30, and our meeting starts at 6:30. They do the presentation, and they leave.
Is that
We can
something
do that as a
Can we
closed?
do that as a
Could
close?
potentially do in closed
No.
session or no?
Just advertise, could you advertise it so that it could be with the police?
What do you think?
I'd be curious, I'd have to know exactly like what their concern is to see if it would be something that could be in closed session.
Okay.
It very well, I mean, it could be, it could very well, could
I
be.
think some of it would honestly fall under contract negotiation.
You want
Yeah,
to
we'll
start
have to-
with
we'll have to
the
talk
safety,
about that.
the
Yeah.
safety committee seeing it first,
Yeah,
or?
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
if it's all right with you, why don't I go over there, talk to the folks, see exactly what the issues are, report back to you, and we'll go from there.
You want to go now?
I want to go.
But not now. Sure, yeah, and if it has to be done, like the attorney said, we'll do it that way.
Okay.
So
All right.
is this budget including the items they want that they're going to present to us, or no?
Yes, so everything in here is good. You will see on page 14, actually just skipping ahead a little bit, for the new recruit line is bumped up. It's just about double from what it was, so that would be the inclusion of an additional officer for all the academy supplies, uniforms, stuff.
So that's what they're coming here for.
Yeah, one of their main pushes is to get an additional officer on staff.
So we won't make a final decision until after we hear from them?
Correct.
On this
Yeah, yeah.
dollar value?
Yep.
Okay,
I just wanted to have those numbers in front of you
Got it.
so you're aware.
thank you.
Yep.
And when you meet with them, just make sure you tell them when our next meeting is, maybe they want to come then. It's 25th. Okay?
I will if you want me to.
Sure.
But I would have, if the public safety committee wants to meet with them, I'd advocate for that, absolutely. I think it's worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get an email thread going and we'll talk and come up with a plan.
No worries, we can do this.
And you will do it.
Does this also include the discussion that you're having with the Board of Ed regarding the safety officer?
No. None of that is here as of yet, just because we don't have any details. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that discussion.
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel comfortable just kind of throwing a
So
number.
I don't
in.
even think we got an update on anything, right?
Nothing.
No, not yet.
Okay.
I don't even think the police know about it. I mean, they know about it because of who sits on the board there,
Right.
but otherwise, it's haven't been discussed.
Okay.
There's too many things to work out.
It's a lot of moving parts.
Steve, just a question, if we did add an officer, is there additional car needs, or we have enough?
I think we'd be all right car-wise. That's a good question, though. I could follow up on it.
I know we didn't add anything into the budget for that. so-
Right. I know actually, and just to go back to the last meeting, there was one question that came up during capital. What vehicle are we replacing? So it's one of the Tahoes, it's 506, but their plan is to actually not just completely take it out of service and put that as a traffic vehicle. So it'd go on all the outside road jobs, things like that. And, you know, the push for the new hire is to hire an actual traffic officer who would be dedicated to all things traffic.
Could he be also put in the school if we have to?
No,
No.
it'd be separate. There would be some involvement with the schools potentially, but not
Okay.
in that role.
Got it.
Just diving into the contracts line a little bit, you see kind of some of the things, loss off reporting, Power DMS, there's other ones that are in bold. Those increase slightly, just kind of the annual increases, you know, I would say a couple $100 here and there, nothing significant. Those are all kind of their regular items in their budget.
Steve, is the utilized just not updated yet on this one? Or did we really only utilize 58,000?
No, that's accurate.
That's accurate?
Yeah.
So, I mean, these are not subject to change, right? These numbers, so we're adding 25,000 extra.
Yeah, there's definitely cushion in there, you know, they kind of leave it open to add new things. A lot they have included in capital because they're significant expenses for some of the platforms they're looking to do, but, you know, as I mentioned, they are trying to digitize and upgrade everything. And quite honestly, with some of the transition, we had a retirement at the end of last year, they're finding a lot of things, so they're still working through everything. They haven't uncovered everything on their end yet, to be honest, so.
Yeah, it seems to be a
anticipate-
good cleanup time
Yeah.
for them as a department and just trying to streamline some services. And some of these, unfortunately, some of these services become inadequate or they're just not relevant anymore, so, yeah.
And actually, some of that, I believe, was with the accreditation, which they haven't completely finalized, so we do want to keep that just based on any recommendations that might come out of that.
Okay.
The pronouncements, not a major impact, that's 675 under professional services. That we may actually change to the traffic line, but that's kind of just a, you know, internal change. And one thing, the DARE and LEAD lines, one thing to note is we have received a significant amount of opioid money from the national opioid settlements that have been going on. We do plan to offset some of that, some of these costs, some of the PD costs, and earmark some of that money, maybe about $5,000, $6,000 just for PD. So they might not utilize all this line, give them a little cushion for public events and awareness issues. Jump into 15, police cars. We just have to take an updated look at the trust and see where we're at, but you know, only one vehicle right now. We believe we're going to be able to fully finance that through the vehicle trust. We just have to firm up that number. The all-in cost for the replacement vehicle is at $84,259. They're taking a different approach this year. It's slightly more expensive, but they're sending it to one vendor, one dealership for everything. So that's all in. They have the vehicle, they do all the upfitting. So by the time we receive it, it's ready to go and ready to hit the road. Other times we get the car, say, in April, then they send it to the upfitter, which is all the way down in Burlington County. It sits there for months, honestly, before it's upfitted and comes up. So, you know, for a few extra dollars, I say a few extra, you know, maybe $5,000, $7,000 extra, we actually get the car on the road a lot quicker, and it's just a lot more efficient.
Hey, Steve?
Yep.
How many cars do we have?
Good question. I'll have to get back to you on that. I'm not sure the exact count right now.
12?
Pistol range is just the consortium cost, which you'll see a slight increase. We charge ourselves the same increase as all the other consortium members, which seems fair and reasonable.
Does it? Does it really?
Well, just the way it's kind of set up, I guess.
Sewer.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Discount for the host. solve the...
I would anticipate that changing when we restructure that whole contract, but yeah.
You remember your
hopefully
microphone.
we see some benefit there.
Yes.
Good. So one to note, actually, I have an update on this too, the 911 services. So we've been going with Central based out of Ridgewood. We actually just met with the county on that, and the county is going to start hosting our 911 dispatching services. It's really just a pass-through, so dispatch is still going to be at the public safety, under PD. This is literally just the pass-through for the 911 calls.
So it's just the 911 calls?
Yes,
If you
that's
dial
it.
pick up in Waldeck and dial 911, it goes to the county?
Yes,
Or
it goes to the, right, instead of
Yeah,
going to
they-
Ridgewood and then bouncing over, now it's going to go to the county and bounce
But
over.
if you just call the PD directly, that goes to PD?
Correct.
It doesn't include...
Yeah, if you call their 911 line, it's still our dispatch answering those calls.
Okay.
So-
Probably a couple months in there, though.
Yeah, I'm going to be having that conversation with them this week. We just firmed up the details, Lieutenant Seifert and I, last week on this. We're pretty much ready to go. We're looking at a March 4th, I believe, cut-over date. County's on it. They've done this a bunch of times. I think he said they did, 7 or 8 recently. It's pretty much, there should be no effect. They do 3 different types of test calls, one from a cell phone, one from a landline, and then, another one from a patrol vehicle, just to make sure everything goes through. If they're good, then we're online. So no effect to residents.
So does that decrease the work for our dispatchers?
No, it's
No.
the same workload. It's really the same process. This is really just a pass-through.
Delays the 911 call. That's what it does.
Wait,
How
I'm
much?
so confused.
So,
If you call the
yes.
911,
Yeah,
it goes to someone else. They take all the information, and then they call PD with you on the line and give them the same information that you told them.
So when you call 911, even now, this is the way it's set up.
Yeah.
It goes to a dispatcher in Ridgewood.
okay.
They take the call basically simultaneously as they're talking to the person.
Yes.
If it's pretty clear what it is, they're already dispatching our guys. So then it gets bumped to our dispatch, and they put it out. Yeah. So
So
this,
instead of Ridgewood, we're using the county?
Correct.
And that's saving us money?
yes. County's offering it free. So
Got it.
we figured we'd take the opportunity to make the charge.
Okay, thank you.
Police were good with how the county been operating it?
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah?
especially with this. We made sure to check. I asked PD, just you talk to them, figure it out, make sure you guys are good with it, and there's going to be no effect or changes, and they're happy with it. So not a major savings, but it's definitely savings.
Every penny counts.
Hopefully they do a good job. Did you check with other towns that went on to the county? Any problems?
Yeah, we reached out to a couple. Most have also gone with their dispatching, their actual dispatching services, so it's hard to get a true understanding of that. There's some mixed feelings on that
Right.
topic. I know we talked about that last year. That is not being brought up at this time.
Good.
Going on to the police training facility, pretty standard here. Really just want to highlight the materials and supplies lines. We changed things up a little bit. We consolidated some lines. Mainly the hazmat disposal is the biggest jump. Just that cost, the vendor we were using just increased their costs significantly. I guess it's expensive to get rid of lead, and it's not easy. There's a lot of regulations around it, so the costs have increased. I think that probably went up a good $5,000 or so in that one. HVAC, maintenance, and filters, that was broken up into a few different lines, so we just consolidated it. It was HVAC and maintenance, and then filters was another line. We just combined them for the $8,500 total, and then the targets just went up slightly to $1,400.
Is the shift between miscellaneous repairs and the hazmat line, is that where it was before? Is that why I'm seeing utilized only 9,000 versus adopted 24?
Yes.
And then 17?
Yeah, so some were just charged to the wrong line.
And I'll just point out, anything that's left over at the end of the year, once all the final bills are charged out, the money gets switched over to capital, into the capital reserve for any future projects.
For 1 year, right? For how
Well, no,
long?
for this, it gets turned over to capital and stays.
Indefinitely,
Yeah,
okay.
indefinitely.
And just so you know, the filters, that's actually pretty high. We should see a drop there with the new system that gets input. Not that it's going to make a difference with that big price tag, but it is something to note that we're going through filters a lot quicker now than we have in years past. Page 17, OEM, you'll see a decrease. Last year, they requested a rack for the back of the OEM vehicle. They purchased that, came in a little bit under the $5,000 mark. So the training line was set at $1,500. They requested an increase of $500 this year for OEM training, which seems reasonable. Wall vac, same, no changes there. It's really just their standard, our contribution, and then the clothing allowance.
When was the last time the clothing allowance went up? They've been pretty good.
Yeah, it's been a while. I want to say, I'd have to look back, but it's been a long time.
Maybe we should talk to them, give them a little something else.
All right, page 18 is fire. Not many changes, really, to note. I confirmed actually with the chief, there was a larger number originally requested in their operating, but that was included because they wanted, they're still recommending or planning that, at some point going to county dispatch for fire dispatch only. I said that conversation is not being had right now, so that one, what line is it? The contracts line was actually originally proposed at $25,000. We knocked that 10 out, so we're back at $15,000 where they've been. A couple changes in some of their contractual items.
The fire police, there's always been an issue with that. They're part of the fire department, and it's the responsibility of the chief with the fire police.
Correct, that's overseen by the chief.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and that fire police line is bumped up a little bit. That's really just for equipment, jackets, vests, safety vests, things like that.
Uniform seems to be the biggest line jump there.
Yeah, so in years past, if you go back prior years, by ordinance, the max amount is set at that 22.5 number. Last year, and actually I believe in 23 also, they only utilized, around 15,000 or so. So we cut that line down last year. They requested just to keep that 22.5 number in there, since that is the max amount. Not necessarily going to utilize all that amount.
Maybe I'll get a check.
So, but they are plugging that back in just to have it in there and maintain that.
Okay.
The other thing that the department would like to do is have some talks regarding the stipends that the officers get at the end of the year. The current structure's been in effect for 15 years. It might be time to take a look at that and maybe boost them up a bit, and that could be where some of those dollars are going to go.
We could also do the council and mayor.
Say what?
We could do the council and mayor, too.
Okay.
Give us a thought.
Fire hydrant service is standard. That's no change there. Going to fire prevention, you'll see they're requesting a slight increase, mostly in the materials and supplies. So they want to get more fire prevention and educational materials than they have in the past. Just more giveaways, kind of beef up what they have for, for Fire Prevention Week and some public events. One thing to note is there are grants for that that have been successful in getting in the past. We reached out to the one company, it's an insurance company that offers that grant. They're restructuring the grant program right now. It's a rolling grant, so we said, we signed up to be informed. Still feel confident we could probably get about, I'd say $2,000, $3,000 for the fire prevention material, so we could probably keep that pretty low. We just don't know right now until they restructure that program. Also in materials and supplies is the computer. ESP is a new platform that they purchased last year, which has been working out great, so that just helps them track all their inspections. Again, puts it in an online portal and platform. For them, they've been very happy with that, so the annual fee for that now is the $22.65. And then the other increase you'll notice is really in the uniforms. It's been a while, I guess, since they bought new uniforms, so they're looking to get more, Class A type formal uniforms to wear out when they're doing inspections and public events.
$1,500 worth of uniforms?
It's a lot of
They're
uniforms.
pretty expensive. Some of the work shirts, the sweatshirts even that they want, yeah.
The sweatshirt without any insignias on it.
From 56 to 1,500 is a
Yeah,
lot.
they're oddly expensive, I agree with you, but they are expensive.
What brand do they get?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
even
there's no-
on the DPW side, when we get uniforms, it's the same thing. I mean, they're just specialized material, the quality, they're not cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest,
Wow.
Mike, no matter who you go to,
They're all
prices
the same.
all the same.
I bought really nice uniforms for my company for $35 this year, embroidered, so for what it's worth, it exists.
It does, and we could look, these are kind of specialized uniforms,
So when
the
the-
Class A type shirts that you see, Police and fire wearing.
They probably want
Does
to
it
change
have-
the style.
Sure.
It's blue right now, right? Yeah.
Does it have to be specialized? Like,
It fits in line with the fire service, I would say, which makes sense.
They do represent the town.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, they previously were, I'll note, they were going out in fire department T-shirts, which I do not advise. They are members of the fire department, but they're not there on behalf of the fire department. They're on behalf of fire prevention in the borough, so.
never been in a police officer showing up.
$1,500 suit.
I gotta buy my own clothes.
Yeah, we're all representing the borough.
Wear burgundy sport jackets. I told you, you don't listen. I'm gonna buy that before I leave. 20 years from now, we're all gonna wear burgundy sport jackets up here.
All right, jump into page 21, the street and road. Not much of a change here. You'll see there was probably just some lines, I think, that we found where there was items just charged to the wrong line, so the amounts don't really change. Line by line, you might notice some changes, but really the total is just about the same.
Is that why the drain and basin and the trench, I know we did a lot of pothole work, that's $460, is that like probably in something else?
Yeah, I think what we found was a lot of it was stone. So they went through a lot of stone this year, and I think we just found it was just really being charged to the wrong line. And we made note and, let Mike know too, that it really needs to be charged to that road material line. We will have a new employee who's going to be, processing all the requisitions for DPW going forward.
The road material line?
Yeah. So it was being charged to the materials and supplies line, mostly QP. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a premium.
And then just, the boots and gloves line was contractual, was bumped up, so we included that. It was previously $325 per employee, I believe, and we agreed to $500, which actually allows them to buy much better boots. And part of the contract negotiations was, we'll give you more for the boots, but they have to be steel toe or the composite toe for better safety, so. And we actually just implemented the bootmobile. So they had their first visit to DPW last week, 2 weeks ago, I think.
The boots come to them?
So the boots come to them. It's a little
Wow.
mobile unit. They go in, see all the displays. They can actually try everything on. They have socks, some
Do they
of
have sport jackets?
the accessories. No sport jackets.
It's Red Wings.
But I heard from the guys, they all loved it. Actually, most of the guys ended up buying their boots directly from there. They got 2 pairs of really good, high-quality boots.
It's like you can't get your dog get a haircut. Really? That's cool. I like it. No, I like that idea. They come to you. I like that.
Well, so we were finding they're ordering them from all over the place, even Amazon, and we
Yeah.
found some of the orders were coming with 2 left feet and things like that. So we decided to try and get away from that, get some higher quality boots, give them better protection.
Good.
Yeah, overall, definitely a win for them.
Yeah. Snow removal, I have a note on this one. Just the purchase of all of our salt, calcium pellets, and then our Kelly-Act payments.
And we still deal with the Allendale, right?
Yeah, we're still storing our salt.
Right.
We've used a lot of salt. I'll note this season already, we've had a much more active season than we have in years past. So, but we have a healthy snow trust also. And I believe any unused money out of operating gets put into the trust. Is that right, Colleen?
Unused salt money.
Unused salt money, yeah. And I think we're just going to rename it. Currently, it's the Snow Trust, but we're going to just call it the Storm Trust because it gets utilized, you know, if there's a hurricane or heavy flooding event, anything like that.
Okay.
All right, skipping ahead to 23, pretty straightforward with these. These are updated numbers. The park and ride, no change, and the traffic control devices actually just bumped up slightly based on our usage from last year.
We did, Kelly can talk to it, but last year we didn't have to get new permits for park and ride because we use a permit for 3 years. And so we just had a meeting the other day, and Kelly and Melissa are going to go through with that same process, but this year we're due for the new hanging tag. So there'll be new colors, and then we just invest every year on a sticker that we put on as we issue them, telling the officers very clearly when that park and ride pass expires. So that's why you see, it wasn't utilized last year, but we're due for it, this is year 4.
And so we buy it all in one shot for the 3 years.
And we are having discussions on that, revisit the park and ride and our options and possibly utilizing. We do have Park Mobile in town already, so we want to leverage that a little bit more. So you might see this line
Yeah.
kind of go away in the future at some point.
Yeah, depending upon what transit lets us do.
Yeah,
We get Katie's parking lot.
Yeah.
that's right.
Cannot wait.
Is that what we're officially calling it?
Katie.
We already voted on it.
Katie's
Katie Park and Ride.
Katie's place.
Katie's
Oh, Katie's Corner, yeah.
It's cute.
Corner,
You're right,
okay.
Page 24 is our solid waste collection. This is contractual, so that does reflect that those numbers are our 2025 numbers.
When's that up for
29, I believe.
2020, through 2029 or?
5 years, 2 years ago. 28.
We did it in 22.
22, yeah.
Yeah, so 27, I think, yeah.
27?
Ready for the next week.
Exactly.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why I
I've not
asked the
seen
question.
very
That's why I
favorable
asked the
numbers
question.
in other towns or, 300% increases in costs, so.
We got
Steve,
it.
have they talked anything more about
2020.
shared services from the county on garbage?
It comes up every now and then. I don't know how feasible it's actually going to
We
be.
talked to them last with the mayors, and
Yeah,
they handle that like they handle deer.
Oh, good point.
it's a tough one to try and crack,
That's right.
unfortunately.
I mean, there are some options, it's just that the people in Waldo won't look fair to them. You can go to once-a-week garbage and then just do twice a week during from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Right.
That'll save you a ton of money.
Yeah.
Just that alone. So it just really depends.
Yeah, it's a lot of convenience, unfortunately, so.
Yeah.
You
Well,
just
I
got
think
them
Mark
all.
was talking about too, a composting program, which could save some tonnage on that.
Yeah, it's definitely something we've been kicking around a little bit.
I don't think it'll.
Is this the one challenge that we found?
I mean, food waste accounts for about 30 to 40% of
Yeah.
our garbage, so I mean, if you could kind of take some of that out, it would help. There are some,
Challenges was when we were at the big municipality.
yeah,
It's like, okay, then we're going to charge you higher tipping fees because the 21 counties, if we're going to lose revenue on tipping, well, then your other tipping fees are going to go up.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a double-edged sword.
I know.
Until the state does something that makes it feasible for the counties, then it's tough.
Yeah.
Tough one to do.
Yeah.
I know there have been some towns recently that started to bring it back in-house. I don't think we would be a good fit for that, to be
Garbage
honest.
pickup?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's very few that do it.
That's a lot.
There's
Yeah.
a ton of insurance
Think we
costs,
would-
liability costs that come with that, and then just the
You
initial
have to have a lot of guys.
setup. Garbage trucks are expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, staffing
And the
is the
staff.
challenge.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
that's,
I will say that Gata is a pleasure to work with.
Oh, yeah,
They're-
absolutely.
They're responsive. I can say from the time I started here until now, the complaints have gone down.
good.
So for what that's worth, not that that
No, it's-
justifies this
that's
number, but I'm
helpful.
just, we don't have as many people calling to complain, so
Yeah, they're great company,
And they're
very responsive to
very
us.
responsive to
Good.
us.
personal relationships with Kelly and I in the office. We can pick up the phone in a second. They have somebody, actually, I mean, compared to where I was before, it's unbelievable how quickly they get in touch with the guys in the truck for us.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I have to agree
Yeah.
that where I was previously, we didn't have the relationship that you guys have.
Yeah.
Very personable and very responsive,
Yeah.
which
And
is
then
great.
I know as a resident, they take the garbage, they're respectful to people's things, the guys are friendly,
Yep.
you know, they seem to keep the town nice, they don't swing the garbage cans all over the place, so
Yeah.
that's
My
helpful.
brother's been did Christmas within days.
They did?
Behind the municipal buildings. When you-
Yes, when I
Oh,
called
yeah.
for those bins.
Oh, yeah.
We had them within days. Whether they're being utilized or not, I can't tell you, but they're supposed to be.
You got 'em.
And I will note, the garbage contract is a publicly bid contract, so we don't control who bids on those. So if there's only one bidder,
Yeah.
it is what we're subject to.
But also, Steve, our new employee who's coming into the DPW has some experience with education. In her previous town, she did a lot of, a larger program where they were tagging residents' cans and what they were putting out, and they had a really good feedback on it, and so that's something that maybe we can look at too. It's just educating residents on what you should be putting in your can versus what you shouldn't, and the feedback for them was great, something that they're going to continue every year, so.
And I also know that Gata will come and do a whole demonstration for you as well, as to what should be and what shouldn't be in your garbage and how to do it. They did that in Wyckoff. They might have done it in Franklin Lakes, and that was also well received. And then you put it on the website, so then it's there. Anyway.
That's
think
true,
some-
even if they have a video already, like just, you know, even if it's from
Yeah.
another town.
Some municipalities will offer or give out garbage cans because of the size of garbage can type thing, where people are talking about, oh, they'll only take 2 cans, but they're not putting big enough cans out there, whatever. What is that kind of program? Does that come from the Gata, or does that come from towns?
So I think most of those what you're referring to is, I mean, some towns might just give them out, but some are the standard cans for the type of trucks. So, you know, they're called the one-arm bandits. They have to be a certain size and set up, so you have to give them out to your
Hackensack
residents if
does
that's
that.
what they use, yeah.
Hackensack does it, because they use
Yeah,
an
Paramus does
arm that comes out and actually lifts the
Right.
can.
So
and
one's
it's
actually
show.
getting out of the truck.
Yeah, it's one of those big square.
Yeah, they're
cans.
nice cans, and some of our residents use them. The issue is if you're filling up a
It's
very
so
large
heavy.
can, they're really heavy. So
Yeah.
that's something we always tell people, 50 pounds,
Pounds.
50-gallon limit.
Yeah.
Make sure they can get them in.
Yeah, the 96 gallon.
They can't lift that.
But those are names that are
Better
designed.
keep on going now.
Right, that's if it really has the truck, right.
Here forever
So
with
we
this one.
discourage them.
All right, we'll move on to 25, buildings and grounds. Slight increase, this is one where we kind of we try and keep some buffer in there and keep it nice and healthy. We did, luckily it was healthy for us this year because we ran into some surprises and major replacements with the HVAC system specifically. So we feel pretty good about this one, the way it's proposed. I don't know if anyone has any questions, recommendations. All right. Vehicle maintenance and the garage. Again, this is another one that we keep pretty healthy and high, so as long as we could make this work, we'd like to keep that high right now. You know, I'll note we have one staff on our DPW that really does an amazing job and helps us with a lot of the PMs on all our vehicles, not just DPW, all the police, and even our fire trucks. He usually gives it a first look, and if it's something too specialized, we'll call someone in or send it out, but he's a huge asset to us. Public health services, which is nice. You will actually see a decrease in this line. So we have to rework this whole section a little bit because they've combined all these services into just the one contract now, so they don't break out nursing services and registrar services anymore. It's all just built into the contract. So with that and some changes, it actually went down, you know, about $3,000 or so. Animal control, that is staying the same.
I'm sorry,
I'll never
just
change it.
eliminating the nursing line saves 32,000. What is that?
So it's not actually saving us 32,000, it's just included in that
It's just
overall
included,
cost,
right?
yeah.
It used to be separate, now it's not.
The other, administration of public assistance, I don't know if, Colleen, you have anything to add? That's really just a placeholder in case we need it.
You put a contact pass.
Yeah.
Any kind of major disaster or whatever, and
Yeah, I said you put it back.
having to
Don't you don't
pay out
wanna
money
do it?
and potentially get
Marion
reimbursed.
Police
You have to have a
Center
line item
does it.
established.
Well, make sure.
Transfer money
And no-
into. Certainly, it's not going to, $100 isn't going to do anything for us, but it has a line item. Again,
It's like a placeholder for it.
Parks and Recreation. Let's see, I'd have to update the utilized line, actually, sorry, I don't know why that's not filled in, but we could do that for you. Again, our concerts, parades, the bus trips for seniors, our admin's portal for the pool registration is in there. The supplies is mostly all the pool supplies. Chemicals is a big one, so that's the biggest one. It keeps going up. We use a lot of chlorine. We used a lot of chlorine last summer. It was a very hot summer, so we burned through a lot more chlorine. So we're just trying to pad that a little bit more to account for that. And this is just the pool, so we have a lot of chlorine that we use for the water department also, but this line is strictly for pool. Court, not much of a change there. We really just bumped up the interpreter line. We've been using that a lot more. We bumped it up a little bit last year, actually, to the 5. As you can see, we utilized over 8, so we wanted to bring that up to about 85, just to account for that increased utilization. Other than that, everything else hasn't really changed. Same with public defender. So we could skip ahead to utilities.
Does utilized have to get updated, or we could use it?
For which one is that?
Public defender.
That pay was budgeted. We'll have to update that.
Yeah, we could change those numbers.
Just, I know that hasn't increased in close to 10 years either.
Oh, wow.
I believe the same with the judge, too.
No, she got a raise.
She got a raise last year.
Last
She was-
Yeah, yeah, she got a raise.
She was appointed this
Utilities is a big one. All the street lighting, electricity, natural gas. This is where we do like to keep things a little bit higher and have some buffer built in there. We do utilize this.
We did hit it for some transfers this year, but really there wasn't that much that I could get out of there.
Yeah, we actually cut out a lot last year out of a lot of these where we like to keep some padding. We cut them down already. So yeah, there wasn't too much. You can see the unmetered streetlights, we were pretty much right on with that one. Just our waste disposal cost. That's set. We could jump to public events. Again, the seasonal decorations, the tree lighting was where most of that is. I think that was a little bit, I guess we kept it, right? We bought some new decorations last year. We bought a few more this year. I don't know if Kelly, you want to jump in on that one? Tatiana?
And you take money out of mine.
No, we already bought some things, but that's really, a lot of that line is also for the
lighting of our
lights,
buildings.
the lighting of our buildings. So that installing those and then taking that down is quite costly. It looks awesome, but it's quite costly. So that's actually a lot of that budget.
Yeah, we own the lights, but we hire to install and take them.
Yeah, I want to say, it's like $9,000 or
Yeah,
something.
it's
Like,
8,300, 8,400.
It's worth
And
it.
the DPW can't do it?
No.
Yeah, it does involve some electrical work and,
It's
High, special equipment to go in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give me this one, Katie.
No, I'm not taking it from you.
No, yeah, they can't.
No, I know, no, it's pretty specialized. I mean, they go up there with special equipment, they're trained and they know how to do it.
Okay.
We did send Kelly up in a cherry picker one year to put the bow at the top of the tree, but we learned to leave that to the professionals.
I thought it was great.
Hey, listen,
I thought Marcus was gonna have a heart attack, because he was like,
one year we had a man from the fire department wanted to do the tree outside the library. So he started going like this with it, and he realized he's not gonna be able to do it. So next thing you know, he went up and down. It was horrible,
Like a heartbeat?
up and down. It's like, oh, God.
but those are really the only decorations. We haven't, if there's anything else we're buying, that's really for, hopefully we can offset some things with.
Yeah, the public
donations.
events, obviously, is the Christmas tree lighting. We rent a porta potty, we do, there are some additional items that we do, the DJ, but we were really successful this year in getting sponsors to cover most of those. But they're just, it's never, a guarantee. And
It's also our horse and carriage.
Yeah, that's the big hit.
So.
Santa's arrival on the horse and carriage.
That's also in there, so we're doing
Yeah.
a lot with that. That's okay.
It looks good.
That's great.
Would you like to give us more money for that one? 'Cause we can spend it.
Yeah. Well, why don't you just give them more so they don't take it out of my budget?
Oh, well, we always take from his budget. We ask.
No, you don't. You just say, this is what I'm doing.
So I will say,
We want to light up float parade on White's Pond.
Yeah.
fireworks would be great. Fireworks are
Scuba
very
divers.
expensive.
Yes.
We'd have the swan ladies with the dancing.
Put a barge out there.
Westwood has a parade.
So,
Barge
yeah,
with a round show out
that
there.
probably adds about another $30,000 to it. But
Come on, just pay
yeah,
for it.
fireworks are expensive, and honestly, one of our issues is where to set them off.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could have a bonfire and burn the gazebo.
Yeah.
Too close to everybody.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. I don't think you're gonna be able to do it.
Or in failing court,
You'd
I
have to do
think the
something.
neighbors would
No.
be perfectly fine with it.
Nice big ground show over there.
Liability with the water.
So we'll jump to some of the fun stuff, is the pension and social security. My computer is dying. Colleen we just updated these this evening. So you'll see for the PERS, we actually saw a decrease, which is fantastic, but we did see an increase in the PFRS, which is the, police.
Retirement system for the police and fire, and then the other people.
Oh, he doesn't.
Going down, so these next ones we still have to update, so we'll get better numbers for you on these for the sewer treatment, the grant numbers, the updated grant numbers, and then the special emergency appropriations.
Steve, on the grants, did we budget for a third party this year for grant applications?
No, so that is actually one thing I want to bring up. Thank you for noting that, actually, because I wanted to put that, I guess, probably under administration. Haven't plugged that in, haven't found a good home for it yet. The proposal we received was for $30,000, so it's a decent chunk. That's basically just a retainer fee, that's their annual fee. We have them researching everything for us. They'll write them, start to finish. They also offer, the one company that gave us that proposal, they have a platform where, it's not just the up to award, it's post-award also, tracking and management system. So it'd be nice to give that a shot this year. We'll make sure to have that included for the next round.
Do we know what typically, you invest 30,000, what the net return is from it typically?
Yeah, you know what, I'll send out the proposal again. They have all that listed out, and what they've done in other towns. We really just want to make sure to go beyond just the DOT and the CDBG, kind of those aid programs, and see what else they could really capture for us. So yeah, for a $30,000 investment, we could be looking at, millions of dollars in grant money, so it's most likely worth it. Yeah. Yeah, we can skip over the next few sections and jump to water.
Water.
Yeah, most of these numbers are pretty solid. We do have to meet with Colleen on a couple things. We had a couple questions with the meter gun contract and upgrading of readers. We're also looking to purchase a lot of meters this year. Is that correct, Colleen?
What happened is all of the remote meters were installed basically within a year and a half of one another, and they did the whole town. And the battery life is anywhere from like 18 to 20 years, and they're all starting to go now.
That's for the radio frequencies?
Yeah, so the last quarter, we have 200 meters
That won't read? Is this the first time you've had to replace a big batch like that since the installs?
I'd say the past year, so close, and
They've been failing, steadily failing,
each quarter it's getting
more and more. Because when they originally did the upgrade, that was all done, they did the whole town at one time, right?
like within about a year and a half.
Okay, so you'll start to see the cascade. Yeah.
One thing underwater, under postage, you'll see a decrease. It's actually good. We are done with the PFAS filters, so we were required to do those quarterly mailings. We no longer have to do that. That was a pretty significant cost, so a little bit of savings there at least.
Steve, I'm sorry, I know you said this, yep, but on page 36,
Yep.
outstanding no interest, that line doubles this year.
So these are not accurate numbers yet.
Not accurate numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we rolling a band this year, or is that next year?
The bond,
The bond, yeah,
next year.
next year. All right. Yeah, that'll go up a lot next year.
For water, we're missing the changeover.
GAC replacement.
For GAC.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a solid number yet to plug in there. And
There's going to be hazmat fees, there's going to be
Yeah.
the cost to do something.
we actually feel good about this year getting by. We don't think, because they just got installed, so we think we'll be all right. Our engineers have been going back and forth. They've actually been taking trainings on this too, because they don't know the best option. So they are trying to pull together solid pricing for us, so we could at least try and put that together.
The hazmat fees could be around $2,700 to $3,500 per ton.
Yeah.
We're probably looking at 2 or 3 tons per filter set. Not set, per filter. That could be some serious fees.
We're trying to get by. It extends the life if we backwash
Oh, yeah.
frequently and keeps
Oh,
things
yeah.
moving, which we are doing. So again, I think we'll be all right this year, but next year we'll see that included. Rough numbers, like 120,000 to 200,000, depending on which option you go
Yeah.
with. So you could do just full replacement, they take it out and give you new, or there's a model where they take it, they actually bring it to a facility, clean it, wash it, repurpose it, and then bring it back.
Yeah. I talked to Ridgewood today, just because they come in by us sometimes, and they've done a couple of theirs. Done the swap out
Okay,
of theirs. They have the same brand that we have.
so they have all the GAC filters, okay.
Yeah, so maybe, I don't know if
We
you have
reach
anybody
out
you
to
can
them.
talk to
Yeah.
over there,
Yeah.
just see if you can get a feel for it.
We have a pretty good relationship with
Okay.
Ridgewood Water, actually, so.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that actually brings us to the end, of where we're at right now. Does anyone have any general comments, questions, concerns? Obviously, we'll tighten things up, kind of update everything, get the solid numbers in. We'll have the full-blown binders and budget books. We'll have the updated capital sheets ready for you by the next one, too.
We'll have the full summary page of like, the total numbers
Yeah.
rolled up.
Yeah, we should have everything rolled
Just for you.
up by then, so.
Even if you have it done like a day or two before, I can swing by and pick it up.
Yeah, that's the
You know,
goal.
if you put- You know, I don't want to, I'm not trying to put any.
Yeah, no, obviously, we want to get it to you ahead of time,
Yeah.
not just, first time at the meeting.
Well, if they're delivering shoes at a DVW, why don't they just deliver the packet to us?
We'll get the boot truck to deliver it.
That's right.
They used to have that years ago. One woman used to deliver the packets.
Yeah. Well, during COVID, Joyce was delivering the zoning, all
Yeah.
of our zoning
Yeah.
stuff to the house. She would leave it at the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the...
Which was great.
Yeah, we had the lady that used to be Paula's assistant. She used to go around on a Friday afternoon
Yeah.
until
We used to
she
have
got chased by a dog.
That was the inter-office mail. The pony, just like a courier.
Okay, comes to the point of the meeting, public's comments. Anybody from the public?
Actually, I had a few other
Oh.
old business things
Sure.
to address. So last week, or 2 weeks ago, time flies, we discussed the traffic study. Did everyone have a chance to look at that in detail? Again, I think the recommendations are fantastic in this side of town. I think it's about $150,000 for an engineer to kind of come in and look at what the implementation would be. And then an additional, I think the total cost was like $650,000. They come up with great names for these things, but they narrow the street a little bit, they raise the crosswalks. They don't call them speed bumps anymore. I don't know what the heck they call them, but I mean, it is a comprehensive plan, and I just think, I go for runs on this side of town, and you put your life at risk when you're going down Nordham or down Central with the way the cars are speeding. My in-laws live on Bergen Ave, and it looks like Route 17 during rush hour traffic. It is horrendous. So last 2 weeks ago, we did the capital budget. We came in $600,000 less than the goal, which is great. So there's some room. I would really advocate looking at all those measures. So I don't know what the process is at this point. If we need a roll call for support to add that into the capital for the engineer, because they said the next step is an engineering assessment.
Yeah, so I'd say definitely looking for feedback. What I've been working with PD on is some, I guess, low-hanging fruit, so simpler equipment, so increasing our LED signage around town, more speed feedback signs, speed limit signs, flashing stop signs, pedestrian signs, things like that, to draw more attention. We kind of thought that as phase one. There's definitely an expense to that, which was kind of planned for in the capital discussion, around $25,000. So, if we want to do kind of a more robust traffic safety plan, we can definitely look into that if we're willing to include it.
Check with bond council, though. I'm not so sure a study would qualify for capital.
Okay.
So we have the study, so now I think we're looking towards actually the
Engineering
implementation
plans.
phase of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you could do, the painting, the bump outs at certain intersections.
Yeah.
I'd really advocate for looking at that study again, because we spent a lot of taxpayer money on that study, and it really just fell flat and nothing happened. So I think it's important that we all review it.
Do we put any pieces of it in? Nothing?
Nothing, as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, some of it's more
Was that
the
the one from
signage and
2 years
painting.
ago or
It was right.
23.
It was
It was 2 years ago,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, in fairness, we changed borough administrators. There was a lot happening, but
Just get a handle on it.
But yeah, I think it's a beautiful, comprehensive plan. I would love to see another study on other sides of town that look at that as well, because it just gave us a really good idea. What are the problematic streets? What are the problems that are, is it speeding? They call it speeding versus racing. We actually have some streets where they're classifying the cars as racing. I guess it's 10 miles an hour over, I don't know, but.
I'm assuming the PD looked at that study, too?
Correct.
They reviewed it all, they were.
They were on the meeting.
Yeah.
Now, is that something we can pursue with our grant? Is there money available for that? Is that might
Most
offset
likely, yeah.
some of that cost?
Why don't you look into it and get back?
Yeah.
The Bergen
that'd
Ave
be good.
one, Mike runs past there and he knows. When you get to Bergen Ave, you gotta stop, because people just go
But
through.
you have to look, yeah.
Bergen Ave is, I live on that side of town, but Bergen Ave is the first street that, when you go on Waze or any of those apps, that gets you to Route 17. People fly through all the stop signs.
I remember when Patrick was still here, there was a conversation about contacting like Google Maps or Waze and having certain routes removed, like keeping them on the main road so that they come down Prospecting Road instead of heading through these residential areas. I don't know whatever was if there was a request made and.
I remember
I
hearing
don't
about
know,
that, to be honest. I could even reach out to Patrick and see if
I
any.
think he tried it and
If he
worked.
did,
I'm not
and
sure.
I can't say
Do
it
you
would
remember
go
what
anywhere, but
happened?
it's worth a
Yeah,
shot.
Right, like I don't
Do you
know
remember?
what happened, what was the update with,
Tell-
if it went flat, if they were like,
Do
no,
you
we're
remember what
not
happened?
bothering listening to you, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think we could definitely use grants for the implementation, but in the interest of trying to move something forward, I would love to throw into our capital budget the money for engineers to look at what implementation would actually cost, because this is just an estimate. right, what they gave us. It wasn't, I think it used historical data, but it by no means is perfect. And, yeah, I just don't want to wait, honestly. It's a real issue.
I think, obviously you all live here too, so for me, yeah, I think it'd be helpful, I can reshare it and maybe just everyone come back with, maybe pick out your highlights. That's kind of what we did with PD, was, based on the study, what do you guys feel? What do they see out in the field? What are your recommendations?
Right.
We did pitch that with some additional stop signs that weren't really outlined in the study. They came back and said it doesn't really warrant additional stop signs in certain locations. So I guess we really just need to have that discussion. Where do you want to focus on and start to lay it out?
When I was reading through that study, I think, and I just brought it back up while we were sitting here, they were talking about if you put too many stop signs,
Yeah,
causes an inverse
correct.
problem.
Causes the opposite effect. Which is weird, but it really does happen. It does happen.
I also think that there's a need for some
Yes.
that aren't in place today,
Correct.
especially down by Tripagan. Anytime after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, get out of the way.
Yeah.
I have to
It's
pick up
crazy.
my kid right here.
Or 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And something's going to happen eventually.
I know.
It's just a matter of time.
The other thing the study did, I think, really well is lay out a a way to stop entry and egress onto Route 17, while also allowing for trash trucks and police and fire trucks and everything else to be able to get through it. I go to Ramsey for the 24-hour fitness. I don't know if you can tell, but when I come back at night, the amount of near misses from people pulling out from those streets onto 17, they're trying to go from 0 miles an hour to, let's be honest, everyone drives 65, 70 miles an hour on 17. And man, the amount of times you almost rear end them, and then as they're trying to pull on to Bergen Ave or one of these streets, the accidents that they almost cause coming to a complete stop onto Route 17 while they're trying to turn off is also insane. And I imagine as they're pulling on to those roads, they're also going 35, 40 miles an hour. So if there's kids, I mean, who could let their kids play out there? But if there are, I just think, yeah, it's waiting, I think, is playing with fire at this point. So, yeah, I would love to have this conversation at the next meeting if everyone has a chance to review it.
It'll be on Facebook.
Does everyone have that plan? Do you want me to reshare it
Sure.
again? Just so it's
Absolutely.
fresh?
And let the police know we're doing this, too.
Yep. Yeah, we can bring them in, even as part of the discussion, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see if they can attend.
Absolutely.
That's another thing you could do, Andy. Anyone else from the council?
One other thing we also discussed last week, or 2 weeks ago, was the resolution for the sewer authority. I mean, I get that they're going to put hydrogen sulfide sensors out there, but I don't need anyone to tell me that it smells anymore. It smells every day. Horrendous. Today, just you go get a slice of pizza and you got to deal with, you know exactly what you're smelling. You know what it is. It's not going away. These are open-air sewage tanks in town. I strongly support, I think we need another approach. I think we need a more forceful approach. I think we need to pass a resolution. I think the town needs to work on a petition. I think we need to bring them to the table, tell them our intention, let them respond to it.
Was the petition done by the resident?
No, I think we're waiting for a resolution to be passed so that petition can reference the
I thought the resolution was that there was an agreement with the petition.
Not, I mean, we can,
There's no the petition, usually the residents do the petition.
let the residents do the petition,
Yeah.
but we'll do a resolution. The residents can do a petition supporting the resolution.
Well, I would feel comfortable doing the resolution after I read the petition.
Well, the resolution was written, and it
But
just
the
basically
petition
says,
wasn't.
it basically says,
Right?
that smell.
The petition wasn't.
But the resolution basically says, the sewer authority smells, right,
Yeah.
in no uncertain terms. We want, as a borough council, something to be done. And it's very concrete, and the public can in parallel say, we support this resolution. Yeah, the governing body in Waldwick needs to be more aggressive here in changing this, because this is crazy. This is absolutely, we have to do something here. I mean, I can't even walk outside of my house now without smelling open-air sewage tanks in the middle of winter. What is going to happen when it's 80 degrees out this summer? There's something going on down there. So I mean, we can change the language in the resolution, but I would advocate absolutely getting more aggressive, getting our assembly and state representatives involved, and I mean, they need to know we mean business here. I just don't think that this slow walking is going to get anything done.
Yeah, I would advocate against waiting for the public to bring a petition, right? Because we hear
Yes.
from people all the time.
Correct.
And we all feel the same way about it, so I'd like to get something moving as fast as we can.
Right. So we need the petition first.
No, against that. I don't think we need a petition first. Like, what's the
okay.
point of a petition if everybody's
Well,
coming and complaining and we all
I
smell
don't,
it?
we need, I would feel more comfortable with the petition,
May I ask why?
because that's the way that you do it, otherwise, and all the complaints, we do resolutions on.
But wouldn't it just be a resolution that all of us agree that it smells and we want to do
Yeah,
something
it
about it?
does-
So
it
why do
does
we need a
smell.
petition?
Well, I just don't think that would be the way to handle it right now.
But aren't we all elected to help
Yes.
the issues in town?
And that's what the petition would show, just like HCA Park did the petition to see if we need another crossing guard.
And they came with a very concise plan.
Why
Yeah.
do we need a
I feel that
petition?
it's my job to represent the residents, and if
I
I've heard from the
understand
residents,
that.
why am I going to tell them?
I
to
understand
create a
that, but
petition?
I would try to have a conversation with the sewer authority first.
We have
I
been
think
trying
we
for
should
years.
have.
We have been trying for years. They don't listen. We, the residents.
Okay.
Everyone's in it. Eric Laporta comes.
Okay.
3 times the past 2 weeks, and I got shot down talking to Mr. John. Shot down. They're going to do what they want, when they want, where they want. It's up in, I said, why can't citizens from Warwick come to the meeting? And I was shot down again.
Right.
That, I'm not mentioning names, but there was some people on the council that said they're not important enough to come. That's exactly what you said.
I'm sorry?
They're
Someone on the council said what?
not important to come.
What council?
Who's not important to come?
Citizens from Warwick.
I don't understand what you mean.
We wanted to go to the meetings. That,
Are you talking about?
Are you talking about the sewer authority meeting?
correct. No. To the meetings that the mayor and council from the local went to. They're not important enough to come. And I had people that witnessed because I had the phone on speaker. And I
Someone
told-
said that the last meeting?
There was other from, not just this council, from other towns. And I had, I said, John, you're on speaker. I said, okay. And then when we went to a meeting.
That's all, I don't know anything about that
The
stuff.
meeting was over.
Right, I don't know anything about
I'm
that.
not taking any comment.
Yeah,
I don't want to pass.
that I don't know anything about.
Who's our liaison from the
Yeah.
council?
There is no,
Yeah, why don't-
there is no liaison
What-
currently down there.
That's what Kelly said last meeting. You need a liaison.
Yeah, but who on
A
the
liaison from the
is
council?
supposed to be?
No, I said you needed to.
No, we need a member, we need a board member. We need a seat on that board.
I said, I submitted the paperwork in for it.
So they're not listening.
told you.
to
All
us.
due respect.
They're not
I mean, I just sent it in yesterday. I don't think they're going to work on it tonight. If I don't hear from them by Monday, I'm going to call, well, Tuesday, I'll call back.
My kidneys are coming out the 28th, which is, yay. So I have to take my name off the mayor.
Oh, I got you. All right, no problem.
And the last thing about the sewer authority, 2 weeks ago, they came up. We got to know who to call. 2 gentlemen came up, very, very nasty. They walked down, and, well, what do you smell? None of your, not the hell.
We heard that.
Yeah, okay. You know what they said. They walked away. I said, well, you got 6 people out here that smell it. Should we call all night? You can call, we're not answering. And,
Why don't we bring Danubio in here, Mr. Danubio in here to talk to us?
yeah, but I would like, try to get enough people to come to.
You're all over Facebook asking people to come. Look who's here.
And that's helpful with the petition too.
Oh, yeah, you see.
So then people know that it's a thing, that there's a
Wait,
petition.
I believe, as Mike said, you got to get you people, you are aware of what's happening, the smell. If you guys back us, we're going to go out full force.
Exactly.
Because we already said, I already talked to the bagel store, Dunkin' Donuts,
Okay.
the market.
And have them sign that, they can sign the petition for it too.
But I want you guys to agree that we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Not,
oh, yes, yes, no, 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 no. You know?
I don't see the downside in submitting a resolution to say it
I'm
smells,
sorry, I walked
it's got to be fixed. We all know it smells. We all know it needs to be
I mean, it
fixed.
stunk tonight.
What more, it's terrible.
I go to dialysis, like I said.
Yeah.
4:45 in the morning. It stinks. And you can see the smoke coming, you know? And Mr. Zinnobi, it's too much money to put the domes over it. You know, when they wanted to do it, it was $2 million. Now it's like $6 million. We don't have the money.
We spend 5 for PFAS filters. They can't spend $10 million to cover?
Yeah, I mean, just a recommendation is, do we want to try and hear from them directly before we take any formal
No.
action? I think
No,
No.
we tried.
I think
We've
we've tried
waited
for
years.
years.
Tried.
I think we've tried for years. I'm done.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
I'm done. I mean, I'd be more than happy to speak to them.
Well, then we
But I
should
would
bring him in.
Yeah, we'll
But I
bring
would
them in.
We're gonna bring him
like the
in.
resolution.
You know, we just,
Resolutions.
No, I know, you just
No, no.
met.
we
But
just
what's the
became a
downside
friendship
of
with
the
them, and now we're
resolution?
gonna destroy it. I mean, they're
Right.
watching this tape, which none of us care, maybe.
Yeah.
Let us bring him in, let him sit here with us and tell us what he wants to do.
He could have done that years ago. They could
We
have
didn't
done
ask
that years ago.
Oh, excuse me.
Come on.
I was there.
I'm telling you.
We've been listening to people come and say that they...
And how many of them went to the meeting?
To what meeting? He just said that they're not.
They're allowed to what meeting?
Didn't you just
You went
say
to the
that
public
they're
meeting.
not...
Oh, I went to the public meetings down
We had
there.
public
You-
meetings,
Yeah,
I'm
you
sure
were
of
there
that.
too.
I went.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, so
I went. When I
I
was the
support the
liaison, I went.
resolution. You support the resolution.
Me too.
Other people do not.
I don't know who the liaison is.
Mr. Mayor, who's the liaison now?
I'm not gonna get involved with this right now because it looks like it's gonna be a battle between this side to that side. And then tomorrow morning, everything will be over Waldwick United and all over Facebook. And then we're
No,
gonna
this is an
destroy our
issue-
relation.
Yeah.
This is an
Can I
issue
talk?
that's important to
We're
the
gonna-
residents.
It is very important, I know it's important.
And we're not doing anything about it.
We are doing something.
What are we doing?
We are.
We're not doing nothing?
We
I didn't
aren't.
waste my time going there today. I went there with a purpose. And the purpose is to try to get the thing solved. And to be very honest with everybody, and I'll be the gentleman to say it, everybody's saying we should get support from the local people. Let's wait till after the primary and see what happens.
No,
Because
this is not
everybody is
political.
jumping.
This is not
Yes, it
political.
is.
It is absolutely
I've
not.
asked Mr. Art to come and talk to me, he never did.
Mr. Art.
Ask the councilman next to you. Art, whatever his name is.
Oh,
How many times I asked him to come and talk to me about this? And he never did.
Well, we got to push them harder. This is not political.
It is very political.
This is about
And I
Waldwick
was
smelling.
told that none of the people on the board down there get paid at all,
That I
you know,
I don't know.
That I don't
and none of
know.
them live in Waldwick.
One did, she
Oh,
she
yeah,
resigned.
what, yeah.
She left for every reason, and they're looking for somebody, as I said, I put people's names in.
Again, I can't do it.
No, I appreciate that.
I would love to.
I mean,
Thanks for
I
thinking of
try
it.
with the names. I don't think it's gonna happen, because they do, I mean, I've been sending people in there. I asked for Frank McKenna when he was alive. They rejected him.
There was another gentleman, an Italian gentleman, that used to be on.
Rosati.
No, after him. He went down every meeting.
Not Bob Rosati?
No. But again, there's no plan on getting you, yes, everybody here sign it, that ooh, you guys back us up, the town people?
Well, let's have a vote.
Yeah.
I want it to be on record that this is the right strategy at this point. I sat here for 3 years listening to Mr. Laporta make complaints. Over that 3-year period, I obviously didn't take as much attention to it because I didn't smell it. But for the last 6 months, I've been smelling it nonstop. So now it's very important to me. I get it, it's important to you. If I'm smelling it, everybody else around me is also smelling it.
Because
The
they
restaurants, the
constantly
businesses.
would always say, it's the leaf pile. There's no leaf pile.
And we all smelled it at the 9/11 ceremony.
Yes.
And I don't need an hydrogen sulfide sensor to tell me that there's smell in the air. They're going to spend the next 3 months measuring hydrogen sulfide, then they'll tell us it's not high enough to do anything.
Can I ask Craig a question? May I ask you?
To the mayor.
Go ahead.
Oh, Mayor,
Sure.
can we do anything about this? You know, just the governing body here start it, then bring it to the people as a petition? Is that the right step?
Yeah, I think there's a comment about having a resolution to support a petition for the residents or to direct the sewer authority to do something. It's whatever the council wants to do. They can.
No, because again, the money, again, raising our fees. You know,
I
just,
understand that.
it's, I mean, like I live 200 yards from there, and the mayor's been there. It stinks. All right, but thanks to everybody.
Good luck with your situation.
Thanks, say a prayer for me.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so no resolution, no roll call, nothing. We're just going to let this die on the vine?
It's not dying in the vine.
No.
We spoke with them today, let's see what happens. We're going to
Last-
pull Mr. DeNubio in, and we'll see what he has to talk to us about.
2 weeks
And we-
ago, when we raised the resolution, no one had any issue, no pushback, nothing. The resolution was
No,
written.
actually, I did have a pushback on it, because the resolution, when Mr. Laporta asked about doing a petition, I said, yes, that you can use petition.org to do the petition. And then I get in my email the resolution. I never said we were doing a petition. The borough is not in doesn't do petitions. Everyone else that's ever come with us with an issue has done the petition themselves.
Okay, so...
I'm fine with anybody doing a petition and presenting it to us, but I don't want to do a resolution until I've, read the petition, because we're putting the cart before the horse.
Why don't we pull the petition out of the resolution and just have it say, sewer authority smells, something needs to be done about it?
It wasn't,
Yeah, I
it's
think
not,
we'll agree on
it's
that.
not on the agenda.
No, but we can put it on the agenda for
Yeah.
the next meeting.
Put it on the agenda for next
So
week.
it'll be on the agenda for the next meeting, a resolution stating, in so many words, the sewer authority smells, something needs to be done, and we'll vote on it.
Well, we'll read it.
And you might have to take out about asking other towns to help, because you didn't ask no other towns to help you with this. So before we do that, to protect ourselves, we have to either ask the towns or just worry about it as ourselves, worrying about it because we are the town that has the authority in here. I think it's better off coming from us if we're going to do it. We don't need anybody else to help us from other towns. You know, what would Mawa care? They don't, you know.
But Ridgewood it probably affects, I'm sure, they're right there, Midland Park it probably affects.
Ridgewood, they say, what did they say today?
As Katie said,
One complaint
we represent
last year?
All right, so...
Council said not many complaints from other towns.
Yeah.
One complaint from Ridgewood?
We asked about the complaints, and he
Or
was
Hohokus,
breaking
I guess it's right
it
there.
down about the towns.
We asked about Hohokus
Mayor,
and
I was
Ridgewood
asking,
specifically.
I see
Yes.
a lot of Hohokus cops.
I'm sorry?
I see a lot of Hohokus cops, and, you know, especially the guys that work in fine.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, you guys smell this? He goes, yeah. What do? We don't have anything documented there either.
And I guarantee you, some of the residents there probably don't even call.
Well, I know one that does, and, you know, for sure. I don't know, but,
On the, yeah, I know where it is, yeah.
thanks again.
Can I just ask a question? In order for a petition to start, no one needs council permission to start a petition.
No.
No.
So
Anyone can
I
start a
think we
petition.
would all gladly support a resolution saying that the place stinks. But can someone start? Can one of us start a petition, or does it need to be a resident to start the petition?
If we're allowed, I'd be happy to start
You
it.
guys are, as well as being council members,
Residents.
you guys are all residents of the borough.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want as an individual, as long as you make it clear to whatever organization, resident you're doing, that you're doing this on your own behalf until there's a formal resolution or something that authorizes the governing body, is a majority of the governing body. But as an individual, it's like going to the sewer authority. For instance, had this discussion with somebody else not in this town. They went to a public meeting. When they go to a public meeting and speak, they have to say they're speaking on their own behalf, not on behalf of the governing body that they're representing, because it can be taken the wrong way if they speak at a public meeting and they don't make that clarification. So anybody on this council can do something as an individual because you are residents of the town. But you just want to make it clear that you're doing this on your own behest, not at the behest of the governing body, or until a resolution is passed with the concurrence of the majority of the governing body.
Okay, thank you for the procedural update. I just think we needed to start.
Yeah, now we have a starting place.
So what do we stand on this?
I want clarification because of what the redraft of the resolution should say from that the majority of the governing body wants into that resolution
Right.
because of what happened and the blowback that I received.
Right. Well, if you could just get rid of the other towns that are in there, just put down Walbrook, because it's, I feel it's our responsibility, it's our residents, and, I mean, what do the other towns care? They don't even call their own.
Personally, I would like, whatever the petition is, I'd like to read it before, because you can say whatever you want in the petition, and then we're saying we agree with it before we read the petition.
Okay.
But
So
we're
that's
taking
all I
that
mean.
out, we're taking that out of the resolution, the petition aspect.
Well, maybe we'll have a petition by then.
Maybe we will, but we have no resolution to, so the idea was to have a resolution and then have a petition support the resolution. Right now, I'll go work with Mr. Laporta on drafting a petition as a private citizen, and we'll have to come up with our own language,
I think there was a miscommunication on that, 'cause-
perhaps, but
Yeah.
I'm going to have to come up with my own language within the petition.
yeah.
Otherwise, it would have been a heck of a lot easier to say, we, the people of Waldwick, support Resolution 2025, whatever the number is, and then the resolution dictates exactly what it is that we want to say. That's the easier route, I think, Mr. Laporta. So we can wait another 2 weeks until we vote on this resolution and then get the petition started. I think that's perfectly fine.
I would do the petition first.
Again, I'm going to have to
So,
come up with
still
my
with
own,
that.
I'm going to have to come up with my own language, right, within the
Right.
So
petition.
maybe we should vote on it, right?
Why
If
don't
we're
we-
in disagreement?
Why don't we vote on them redoing the petition, redoing the resolution for us to review, to make sure it's the way we want to do it?
With or without the petition?
Pull out the
Say
petition
move
language, because I don't want that
Okay.
to become a
Right.
flashpoint.
So it can go quickly?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right?
So you're not doing a petition?
I will do a petition.
Okay.
It'll be completely independent of the resolution.
Could you draw up a
Yeah.
resolution?
So if I understand what everybody's saying, we're going to remove the request from the other towns,
Right.
for the other towns to support it, and we're going to remove the support of a petition
Right.
and just indicate the
The concerns-
smells coming
the concerns we
and
have.
compel them to do something to look at this.
Right. And then they'll get back to us on, what we have to, what their plan is or whatever. But in the meantime, if we start with a resolution saying that this is what we're doing. I mean, of course, you're not going to say the place smells, you'll just say, put it in nice.
Say it nicely.
Say it nicely, that's all. I mean, I think that's what everybody's thinking. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Can I recommend, can we just have everyone just voice their confirmation that that is accurate path forward, that the borough attorney has the authorization to redraft this resolution based on those comments, removing the towns and removing the petition
Do I have
language?
do I have a motion and a second, so that we have the attorney redraft the resolution, so gearing toward that, he knows what we want to do, and then a petition will follow.
Motion.
Motion?
Second.
Motion, Joe and Mike, take the roll.
Mr. Brennick?
Yes?
Mrs. Sarah Coladrick?
Yes.
Mr. Martinello?
Yes.
Mr. Ramondo?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mrs. Weber?
Yes.
And honestly, if everybody could just, please do not go on Facebook and start attacking everybody and attacking this person and that person. I think we have to gain a little bit more respect for each other here. And I will reach out to the person that is the liaison of the sewer authority, because I don't want to embarrass anybody. Anybody else from the public have anything to say?
I had unfinished business. Sure. Okay. I just had a couple questions about the newly formed water committee. So I just want to understand the difference between their mandate and what that means for the DPW committee and how they differ.
Well, you want to?
Yeah, I mean, I see how I'm taking it is this is completely 100% focused on just water quality, water clarity issues. Specifically the current issues, discoloration, odor, taste issues that we're experiencing. Outside of DPW, everything else DPW goes through the regular committee with the everyday operations, things like that. Obviously, water is a piece of that, but we're taking it a step further with the water committee just to focus solely on these current issues that we're experiencing.
And we feel it's necessary to do that?
I think it's going to help us definitely come up with a solid path forward.
We'll find out when we have our first meeting. We're going to bring
Yeah.
Mr. Goodell in, and, because he's very concerned, well, we're all concerned, but he's been hit the most.
Yeah, no, that was my next question, is how often will this committee meet?
I think, sorry, Mr. Mayor.
No, go ahead.
I think we're still going to outline that probably at the next meeting.
Okay.
We've had just like a very preliminary, kind of informal meeting. And then the next one will be with the public member, who I think we're going to rely on a lot for kind of that public input piece.
I
Okay.
recommend weekly. I think this is an all hands on deck. I think weekly.
Well, it is a weekly update, right, Steve? You can speak to that point.
No, but a weekly meeting to look at oversight, to look at strategy, to look at a public relations strategy. I mean, I think there's a lot being done, for sure, by the town, but I think the residents have questions. And that's the number one thing we need to address, is how are we going to get this information out to the residents at how we're finding the root cause?
Right.
That's part of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. We can't speak to how frequently we're going to meet yet. I think that's to be determined. Probably at the next meeting, we should be able, by the next meeting, next council meeting, we should have, more input on that. I can't answer that without, having the next formal meeting with the public members' input as well. And just, weekly, I don't know, maybe a touch base is appropriate. We don't know yet, to be honest with you.
I think it just feels like it's spreading a little bit, like now I have brown water. So it's spreading. I do think it's an all hands on deck moment.
Agreed?
Yeah, when we sit down with the next meeting, we have it.
Next week,
We'll
right?
discuss
Yeah,
that
next week.
Anybody else from the public? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mark, second